Markets downside ever so slightly here once again to get going as we await a few economic data points coming up mostly tomorrow and Friday. We'll get Michigan consumer sentiment to wrap up the week, 10 a.m. on Friday. That's going to be the big one of the week. There is inflation portion tied to that, so heads up as we head into the end of the week. As of this morning, though, we're dealing with a couple of big-time movers. That's one of them. Starbucks downside to the tune of 3.5%. Pulling their forecast going forward. A lot of people saying necessary as the new CEO takes over and gets things straightened out inside Starbucks. McDonald's, the other one, downside to the tune of about 7% right now, coming off, after the close yesterday, an E. coli outbreak. Hope anyone wasn't maybe eating quarter pounders yesterday at McDonald's, but taking it on the chin this morning because of that. It's been a long time since we've had something along those lines in a fast food type of name, so we'll watch McDonald's. Tesla on watch here this morning as well, getting going. Interesting note, they're going to start selling their in-house battery containment unit in Japan, which is great for that market as well. So
fantastic,
opening up more markets or a bigger, selling market for that product.
He's trying to push that aggressively, Brendo, the solar game there. I know my sister's trying to get involved with that in Southern California. Lots to talk about today. Qualcomm and Arm in focus today. It looks like there's a bit of a falling out there with respect to licensing. Boeing reporting, Coke reporting, Taiwan Semi being possibly investigated here for some chips finding their way to Huawei, Enphase as well. You guys saw that with the market recap show, and Save, Brendo, possibly Frontier looking at making a deal.
Yeah, upside big time right now for Spirit, so we'll keep an eye on that. Also, some of the Chinese EV names higher this morning. NIO, I saw XPeng up decently as well to the tune of about 3%. Oh yeah, DJT also 2.25% here again today. 3-4 days in a row here. We just keep marching higher as the calendar is just ticking down here in a hurry for a week and change here to go before the election.
Can't wait. November 5th. It's going to be a very important day. Obviously, we'll be covering that the next day. DJT, another big mover yesterday. We traded it on the market recap show. It has that, that consistency holding the moving averages. But Brendo, there is still bamboozlement on it, though, because you could see sometimes the bid just drops off and you've got to reset the whole trade. So we'll keep an eye on it.
Oh, algos are fully involved in those stocks. Trump coming up on Rogan. He's going to do Rogan apparently on Friday, so a big weekend potentially on the podcast circuit. Nvidia also with, I just saw a note, Jensen was saying that the fix has been, I guess, implemented for their Blackwell chip. There was a flaw in some of the design elements for Blackwell, but they've got that taken care of. Nvidia downside here. It's been a pretty good couple of days, though, guys, for semiconductors across the board.
Yeah, welcome everybody. It's been definitely a good day for some semiconductor companies. I don't think you necessarily want to lump them all together because in one vein, you do have Nvidia making fresh all-time highs every single day, but that's not happening in AMD. That's not happening in Intel. I think you gotta understand that this group is being led, and there were many points in the last 2 days where completely being held up by Nvidia breaking to all-time highs there. Now, obviously, it's kind of pulled back yesterday, and that's sort of the problem with Nvidia is it made that big late-day push on Monday. So really, when you got above 144, it's like, oh, but we'd been there in the aftermarket and at that close. So the bounce really just went into that level. So while technically it still made a strong move, ultimately it didn't look as impressive as it could have been. But you got to look at things like SMH, which there's nothing wrong with SMH. Overall, load. Inside day, the last couple of days, off of some highs. And really, just not nearly as strong as Nvidia. And I think AMD is going to be a symptom of that. As a matter of fact, underneath the 50-period moving average once again, that actually looks like a short to me today. But there is a wealth to get to. Enphase is down 15%. That's a potential SSR. It's got a monster level that's going to be in play there. Now, obviously, DJT, Funware, and Rumble are all moving, doing lots of volume, heavy volume. After the bell, Tesla, that's not even going to be front of the mind until tomorrow, I don't think. So you got to be able to buckle down, find what you want to trade. Starbucks and McDonald's both going to be out there and going to be making some moves. Although if I had to pick one for the trade, I'm actually thinking McDonald's looks a little bit more spicy for a bit of a bounce, although it might have already happened, to be honest with you. Like the good level on McDonald's, I feel like it already bounced last night. But oddly enough, I did have McDonald's yesterday because my daughter, whenever she has swimming recently, she was like, okay, you get to have your pick because we're kind of rushed getting in and out. And she lately is just McDonald's pancakes every single time. And she doesn't use like the authentic, real maple syrup we get from my in-laws. Yeah. When she eats McDonald's pancakes, she wants the packaged McDonald's maple syrup instead of the real maple syrup that we have an unlimited supply, well, almost unlimited supply of, which makes no sense to me, but it just goes to show when you want McDonald's, you want McDonald's.
Yeah.
You don't want the best.
My kids
you
have
want
ever had the pancakes at McDonald's, to be honest with you.
They're nothing special.
No, I know. No, I know what they are. That's strange. Yeah, I don't, because when you're talking about, I know the little packages, aren't they the ones where you peel off the top?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have maple syrup in the fridge.
Yeah. Well, of course, but it's not. But then it's the experience.
Exactly.
Okay, Bitcoin right here. I mean, I hope it holds 66,000 because it's making the move down. This is off the 15-minute chart. You know, again, like we were just there. Like, oh, come on, man. 69.5 is where we get to again. And I just think 70 mentally. I mean, we've already seen where if you're going to a daily chart here, day, there it is. You know, the high 73 and change, I believe it was. So 70 itself doesn't necessarily mean anything, but I would like to see it get above and then hold. And then we could stop talking about this support right here because the 200 period moving average is around 61 or so on that. So I feel like that's going to be a good level, but just keeps on doing the little dance here. So I have today, I mean, if we're going to go even just to a little quick chart here, this is why 3 minutes, right? So we're starting to now lose the bid. Let's see if we can hold. We just did. We just bounced nicely off of 66 clean, pretty much, like almost to the dollar here on Bitfinex, or I don't know where these guys are getting this from. But at the end of the day, nice move to the upside right there. Let's see if it can hold that 66,000. So I actually have on watch here. I was going to look at iBit, and I have an offer right now. I just want to see about this 38 area, and so I would like to see us break above it first and hold, and then we can go long. But I don't mind going short in front of this $38 level there, and then thinking about another retest of 66. And then if 66 doesn't hold, then you know this short's going to be absolutely huge. So, all right, that's it. I've got iBit on here today. We've got a little bit of Snapchat over there near $10. So that's going to be another one there, upgraded by JMP Securities. You know. Up 2 and a bit percentage points as the NASDAQ falling off of, once again, guys, that magical level here of 20,000. Whoops, right up here, 20,500. Looks like it was a little pre-market top there as well. So, all right, so far so good here. Many different names to talk about. We better get to them.
Qualcomm, one of those, doing its best to get back to the upside right now. It's still down about 3% on the morning here, but just took back 168, or trying to take back 168 and hold above that. ARM threatening to cancel Qualcomm's chip design license coming out this morning. So a huge gap lower here, but I mean, it's already working its way back up.
So basically what happened was Qualcomm bought this company called Nuvia. And Nuvia already had a licensing deal with ARM. And that licensing deal for Nuvia is coming up for renewal. It's about to expire. So ARM is insisting that Qualcomm renegotiate the terms basically to pay more money because Nuvia had a better deal. And now that they're owned by a bigger company, ARM wants more money. And Qualcomm's like, this is not how it works. So they're basically accusing ARM of trying to strong arm a long-term partner. So we'll see. 60-day notice, though, that has been given to Qualcomm, Brendo, so it's going to get figured out soon.
Yeah, pretty active here as well. It's worth mentioning, guys, as far as QCOM is typically for this time of day.
Yeah, this feels like one of those, you know, you send an offer to a guy in fantasy football. You're like, oh, okay, I'm interested in this player. I'll send you this guy in a couple of picks. And then someone's like, oh, come on, like that's absolute trash. You got to do better. You're in first place. You need this guy more than I do, blah, 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 blah. And then you get like the tit for tat back and forth. My guess is, let's be real, you can't make chips to go into phones, to go into tablets that are going to have the kind of power efficiency that you want unless you're using ARM's design. So is Qualcomm, are they going to get it resolved? Yeah, probably. Well, I don't know how much of a big deal this is going to end up being for now. I mean, if you're watching Qualcomm, like this is, barcoding's the wrong word, but what has this stock done in the last month? Like you go back and it's like 165. There's been some tests of 175, but just 165 over and over and over again. So where did it find a bounce on this news? At $165. So same thing here for Qualcomm. It's been, again, not all the chips have been the same. It's just the group is not as strong as Nvidia, as we keep saying. And this one has been left out. 165 is the level. I actually think ARM is more interesting of the two because it's been, the daily chart's going to work here, the 150 level on ARM has been a big one. And every single time it trades off of that level, it's usable as a trade. So whether it's support, whether it's resistance, breakaway support, dip support. Recently, it's been mostly on the support side because we're bullish. It lost that multi-day support at like $150. So this, to me at least, okay, well, you get up into the 150 when it's been underneath. Generally speaking, it's a place you want to start to look for a short. And if it breaks out above, it's kind of an easy out. So I'd rather look at ARM than Qualcomm, to be honest, because I feel like ARM moves more in a general sense. So even though they're both 3% today, and it's a similar story, I could care less. They're going to figure it out. ARM will probably get more money out of this in the long run. But if it's going to sell because of this news, well, this one's under a key price level that it's at least tradable. I think that 150 on ARM. But they got to get their extra dollars. It's just business.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's just something to talk about on a day today, right? But I mean, look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is starting to come down here a little bit. So I was just going to say, like, in the chip space here, the name that I was looking at over the last little while here, if you look at even a 20-minute chart, AMD has been pretty down. We were just at, like, this is not even that long ago, man. We were just at 170. Now you're down here to 150 again. It's been pretty bad for AMD over the last 2 weeks. It's been pretty nasty, actually. Like, if that was Nvidia, we would be like, what? So let's wait to see what's happening here with AMD. Maybe Nvidia today starts to lead the way to the downside. I like, just as a percentage here, as how much it's been up, and then you're going to look right now, Nvidia is lower than AMD here, and maybe there is more to go, more pullback, but like, the two charts don't look the same. AMD's we're holding up here and then saying now we're down here. You can quite see the difference here with Nvidia breaking through all-time highs just yesterday. So I'm going to say that for AMD, for me, this would be the one. I'm going to try to go short. I mean, the sticky note will be out in a couple minutes. I'm trying to get this name short, and it's just a matter of where. So I think we start the bidding or the offering at 154, and we watch out for this 200 period, which is 153.50. Maybe that's actually where we started out. But hey, man, there's still 45 minutes to go. Not many economic numbers today. I think there's just home numbers at 10, so we don't have too much to worry about there. I'm not sure the Fed is rolling anybody out again today, so we should be okay to try to play some trend here. AMD for me is the one at the 50 period looking to go lower. So this would be the short that I'm looking at.
Back higher right now. Just be aware if anybody's watching. KO, it's down 2%, but it looks like we might get some comments coming through here. Earnings call just beginning, or maybe a little bit into it at this point after 8:30 there. But gotta go back to August, middle of August here for some support. It looks like 68, pretty good level here for Coke today.
So it was a bit of a mixed report, Brendo. They exceeded analysts' expectations on the top and bottom line, but it was really driven by increased prices and offsetting weaker demand. So I'll give you an example. North America volume remained flat, but in areas like Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and Asia Pacific dropped about 2%. They're able to raise prices in jurisdictions with high inflation, giving the example of Argentina, where they pumped up prices about 10%. So the call, as you mentioned, on right now, maybe that's why we're taking a bit of a dip here.
Yeah, I mean, it's trying to hold. We'll see how it plays out, though, for Coke. Also, shout out to our friends over at Worksport, sponsor of the show, WKSP. Pretty good couple of days here on the daily chart, out with this morning, announcing a new production of their AL4 premium tonneau cover, signaling major growth potential once again for Worksport. So if you missed it, we had the CEO of the company on the show going back to last week. You can check that out on our social media and YouTube page as well. But heads up for Worksport today.
Yeah, shout out to them, and shout out to the technical. I mean, you know what? I'm not even going to call it technicals when it's just simple support and resistance, because that's, sometimes it's a little easier on a stock than you would expect when you go over to it. Like Worksport, there's your 60 cents. It's trying to make that run back above the dollar level, but there's your 60-cent support. There's the 60-cent resistance. There's your breakout. Oh, where's the next level? Talk about 73, 74. Tag that. Consolidate over. It needs to break here, like 86, 87 for that run at a dollar. Probably in the consolidation phase, I think, going to be in play for Worksport there. If you're into the penny stocks, a lot of times that step up, you might spend a few days or maybe a week or so stair-stepping it, and then after the catalyst, before you can make that next move. Now, Coke, which is on the New York, not the NASDAQ there, yeah, it doesn't, sometimes it's like, okay, well, is it really all that bad? Report was mostly good. I mean, it highlights that they've been doing better than Pepsi in a general sense for a lot of reasons, and Pepsi more affected by the GLP in their snacking, I think, is part of the story. But Coke is definitely on the way back in. And where's my 200 period load? There we go. But it's still pretty far detached. It's been done so well. It's so far detached from that 200 period moving average. But it's clearly now in a downtrend. Now, obviously, it had made a bottom before the report for a chance to maybe to continue to hold support and head higher. Instead, I mean, it lost support here back into a downtrend. Like, if it cannot get back above 69, like on the chart, it just looks like a short, as good as the company I think is. Obviously, if it gets to the 200 period, I'm sure there are going to be a lot of people gobbling that one up. But yeah, it's trending to the downside. I'd call it a flat bottom break if it hadn't already done so and bottomed. And that's the issue with these earnings in the pre-market. Like, it's already done that move. You want something, and we're just talking about the chips. So if we're talking about flat bottom breaks, AMAT, as I saw in the chat, someone was mentioning, is in the midst of one. Like, so many chip names or in the space are not strong on the daily chart. It's not just about Nvidia. We were just talking about AMD, that 50 period losing it. Well, AMAT's consolidating under the 50 period and flat bottom breaking today underneath 183. Not a lot of volume on it, but the space is, a lot of the names and more than half of the ones I look at are in a pullback phase here. But Coke is probably a no-go for me. I'd be focused on the chips today. Some fun DJT, Enphase as well. That's doing some solid volume pre-market. I don't know if Coke it'll be a day trade, but I think if it drops in too much further, it's got to be a buy somewhere around that 200 period.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be talking all about this, but, Chipotle lost over 60% on their E. coli scare there that affected over 1,100 people. This one for McDonald's is only 50 right now. But the thing about E. coli, and we'll get to this, is that it's going to, it takes weeks to sort of develop and see some of the side effects is what I've been hearing. So, I see that this one was sort of a shoot first, ask questions last or later, because McDonald's really got hit early. Nice move down. And then I guess when they started realizing it, there has been one death. And it's just a matter of it's being, I think it was Nebraska and Colorado or so, where this issue is potentially contained through onion slivers for McDonald's. But I think that this coming into question here as you break through the 50 period moving average, what a huge run it is. It just was at 52-week lows 3-4 months ago here when we matched at October low there from the jump of 2023. We came back right into that level. We actually talked about this name down there. I think we can fall back here. So I don't think this is a day to dip buy on McDonald's, to be honest with you. I think you want to let the smoke settle, see what's behind the curtain here. And look, if it's a great quarter that they put up with, I think coming up soon, then that would be great. And you can maybe buy back in. But for now, I mean, I think it's the 30th. But for now, I would just stay away. Let's see what happens. Maybe the 3-day rule here for McDonald's.
All right, some EV movement to touch on this morning as well, as we mentioned. Some of the Chinese names back to the upside today, 2.8% right now for XPeng, about 1.5% for NIO, Li Auto as well. Higher Tesla, not so much, 0.4%, not really EV related, but interesting story this morning coming out of Japan. Nikkei reporting this, that Tesla is going to start providing and selling their wall-mounted battery storage unit for homes in Japan. Great for them to open up a new market.
Don't know much about it with respect to Japan, but that's something my sister explored in Southern California, Brendo. And at the time she was looking at it, the costs were still prohibitive. I believe that they've come down now. Really what it comes down to is the storage of energy, the battery packs that you get. I'm sure we'll get more commentary on that today on the earnings call. Tesla reports after the bell. I know he commented about that last time, and if my memory serves me right, I think he actually had year-over-year increases in energy capacity storage last time around.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find that. I remember we were talking about that, the graphic showing the breakdown of where their earnings were coming from. And I believe that was the one that was growing the fastest at that time. So, yeah, I mean, positive, guys, for Tesla.
Yeah, for now. I mean, we'll obviously see what happens aftermarket. That's sort of the trouble with earnings is like Tesla hasn't been giving you too much in terms of movement or any kind of volatility before we get those earnings. Yeah, it's pulled back off, not all-time highs, and it's not even like 52-week tops in there, but it is pulling back from that 265. And it felt like once we got it, you could see when we got in there, it got a little bit heavy. It tried to break out a couple times, then you lost the 50 period. But since then, we had the robotaxi event and the deliveries, and you double bottomed at 214, which looked to me like it was going to possibly break out here at some point above like the 222 half or so. And all we've done is go sideways inside of this range. So to expect it to break away from that range before earnings, based on the way it's been trading, I think that's a little bit of fool's gold. It's not really on the note today to be doing much of anything, but the 214's been the bottom. 222 ceased to be the top this week, and now it's like 220. I think those are your tradable levels. Like, let it get there and then try to scalp trade off the resistance and off of the support. I don't want to be catching the falling knife here. I feel like if we go down today and there's stocks to have bids on, there's Amazon I like, there's Apple, maybe not as much as Amazon I like, and then there's Nvidia, which has been a strong chip name. So Tesla for me is going to be a bit of a pass. Now tomorrow, I would like to hope that we're breaking away from 14 and 222, and if we are, I want to be joining the move outside of this range, in whichever direction it happens to be. But until then, I think you just have to be very patient with Tesla. If you like that inside game, I think it'll be a good one this morning. I'm not expecting a breakout of this range today.
No, I mean, I said this yesterday, and this is why I didn't even really look at it yesterday, and it was just the fact that it's been stuck here for a minute, and yesterday it gave some good opportunities, but, I mean, look how choppy this is. I guess it's good for a scalper, which I should be doing, but, I mean, I just think that you're going to get stopped out. Like, all of these little wick highs, and it's like no one can make up their mind. Do we want to rip? Do we want to come back in? Like, who knows? At the end of the day, it was a negative side there to the downside. And then the thing is like we stayed underneath. So I was just trying to think about something for today for everybody, because I don't think we're going to break out of too much of this range. But because that news isn't super important, everyone's waiting for tonight, right? I mean, that's the earnings call. So there it is right there. This green line is the 200 period moving average. So we were underneath it. Sure, we broke higher. You're going to have to put up with sometimes some of these breaks, and then you don't know how far it's going to go. So I would say you kind of watch out for this. The trend changed down here, but realistically, if you're going to use something to look at, the 50 period is way too choppy. VWAP had nothing to do with anything. So I would say you look at a little bit of a bigger time frame here on the 1 minute chart, the 200 period, because once it broke it right there at midday, then we started to trend the other way. So it's kind of like we were holding it here, we trended down, we broke it, we trended higher. So if you kind of were patient and gave this about $1 worth of a stop, you were rewarded both times. So right now, I would say you stay under. So that's 217.50. So I would say you short until you break the 200 period, but I'd rather give it to like 10-ish o'clock when we can settle down a little bit so we don't get all chopped up there. So yeah, not really a story there for Tesla today. I feel like there might be an imbalance because of earnings day, and that might influence the stock one way or another. But I feel like there'll be more stock to trade on the following segment with Adara.
Definitely no shortage of opportunities here, starting with Snapchat getting this upgrade from JMP Securities. We have more details for this upgrade on the watch list this morning, but saying that they think there are some opportunities with their apparent brand redesign plan. So SNAP on watch. Texas Instruments here up after their earnings yesterday and getting this upgrade from Summit Insights as a result. Corteva with an upgrade from Citigroup, and Grab Holdings getting upgraded here by Daiwa Securities. Now, the downgrade side gets even more interesting here, starting with Enphase, down about 15% after an earnings miss across the board yesterday and getting this downgrade from Guggenheim with a $73 price target. Of course, McDonald's dealing with its E. coli outbreak and getting a Robert W. Baird downgrade. So 2 day one news or earnings plays on watch here with downgrades from Enphase and McDonald's. Then we have Chewy down about 2% with a Needham downgrade. And last but not least, Seagate, another name that reported yesterday, getting a downgrade from the benchmark company. So much to look at this morning, guys.
Yeah, absolutely a lot to look at. In the case of Enphase, down 16%. They missed, they missed on the top and the bottom. So not a great look. And it just hasn't been all that great in a general sense for a lot of the solar names. It is what it is. I mean, since the odds have gone up for a Trump win, that's going to be bad for the solar names. ETFs, pan ETFs at pretty much lows at this point. Enphase is possibly testing. I don't want to say it has to get there, but that August low, so I guess November low from last year, about $71.50. Because it's going to be down over 10%, barring a minor miracle by 9:30, it is going to be short sell restricted. I mean, that sets up 2 places here to look for a bounce. And again, I'm looking for an SSR bounce. I want to see a false break of 75 or a mean reversion trade, like show a distinct downward trend, revert that trend, get in on the reversion, or a false break at the even dollar, which would be at 75, or down here at like the 71 or 72. So those are the 2 places I'll look for it on Enphase. I mean, obviously when we sat down, like when you sit down in the morning, it's like it was at 78, 79 in here, and a pop and fade at 80 seemed like it could be in play. Now, if it were to bounce heavily and get to 80, I'd want to be waiting till like the 82 to 84 area to look for any kind of shorts in Enphase. So it'll be looking for an SSR bounce for me on that one today. Just got to be patient with the setup. A lot of times, you either get it right away at the open, or if it doesn't happen in the first couple of minutes, you need to wait for the downward trend to revert, and then you get that nice pullback into VWAP.
So for me, yeah, I mean, I like Enphase there. 73.50, the 52-week low, 73.50. So watch out for that one. I put out here on our little sticky note here that I like Snapchat. That was on the list. Starbucks is the first one. But I like Snapchat down there at $10. We talked about it a little bit here, why we liked it. And I just thought that, you get that upgrade down here. I feel like you could be patient with it. So let's try to do that. I mean, I'm just going to... we'll probably get to this as well at some point. Why didn't my chart change? There it is. So I just think $10. I mean, again, a psychological level. If you're going to look here on the daily chart, you're right back into the 50-period moving average again. I mean, Snapchat has had quite the volatility. Again, always on earnings. Big moves down, big moves up. I mean, it's wild that the 52-week high is $18 and the 52-week low is $8. Such a volatile name for such a low price, like 18 to 8 and back again, like 3 times. It's pretty wild. We'll see. Again, JMP also talked about some negative stories, part of this. We are going to get to it. It's on the watch list. But for me, the upgrade that I like the most is Snapchat right here. Just coming off of a $10 level. We'll discuss the details to come. But for now, I like Snapchat. It's up 3%. We'll see about the imbalances again as we get a little bit closer. But for me, bidding around that $10 mark is kind of one of those over-under levels that I'm over.
Just noticing drug on one of the scanners in front of me here. It's not really doing anything. Down this morning, 4.8%, but I saw a few people mentioning that early on today. So if you zoom out a little bit, a couple of days, it's been pretty quiet here for Bright Minds, but always one that can get going if it wants to. Also, side note, 9:45, so just after the open this morning, Bank of Canada interest rate decision. Supposed to get 50 basis points worth of a cut coming up this morning, so we'll bring that to you when it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Should we?
Yeah, go for it.
More? Yeah, all right, guys. We closed out at 58.92 again, closing below 5,900, despite the fact that we took that level intraday. So we'll continue to watch, see whether we can reclaim that level to the low side. We're looking at that yesterday's low and the previous day's low as support. That's around 58.60. Again, we're looking at 5,900 though as resistance.
If you haven't done so, make sure you take advantage of an absolutely free resource. We do your homework for you every single day. Go down to the description of this video right now, and there's a link there for the watch list. All you need is your email address, and you can have that for free every single day from us. Let's talk about Tesla here. top of the list so far this morning. There's nothing significant, as we were saying. Here it is. This was the report we were discussing early on. Nikkei reporting this morning that brand new market for the Tesla home battery wall going to be Japan. So good look for Tesla on that side of things as far as the stock is concerned. Inside range so far compared to where we were yesterday, 215.5 up to about 218. It's been a steady march lower here for about a week now.
Yeah, and tonight's report's going to be really important because unless they deliver about 500,000 vehicles in the quarter, then they are going to miss the year-over-year increase in deliveries. So it's an important quarter. They had a good one last time. I'm all ears this time. Also, hopefully, we'll get some more information on the Model 2. We didn't get any information on what's possibly being called the Model 2. A lot of people speculating that it'll be a version of that smaller robo-taxi. Randy and I were talking about that off camera, Brendo. Lots of different things to discuss today for Tesla.
Yeah, I mean, deliveries, as you said, going to be so key as they always are for Tesla. But I think one of the things that might move the stock more is more details, if we get more details or not. So make sure you're with us for earnings, guys, coming up.
Yeah, obviously, look, aftermarket is going to be wild with Tesla earnings, and everyone's going to be caring about deliveries. What can you give us with a smaller model? Hopefully sometime next year. Get some time frames in there. Maybe that'll happen on the call. We never really know because you can't tell with Elon what you're going to get out of him. But they make money. That's good. But look, we already went over and said the range is the range, and it's probably not going to break it. But like if you're talking about the EVs, just so we can maybe look at a couple of things that did move yesterday, Rivian and GM, for albeit distinctly different reasons. Rivian's, I'm actually not even sure why Rivian had an impressive day. GM beat on earnings. I'd look continuation play on GM. Like it broke. You're essentially, there's your 50, there's your 51 breakout, got to 53, consolidating over. Although 52.5 was the morning support. I feel like if the market's going to be weak, getting back into that level for a continuation makes some sense. And then the one that was weird, whatever, weird is maybe the wrong word. Rivian bounced off 10 almost on a dime, and 10's been support. Like, look at it for like a few days in a row there. You can see it just hold the line at 10, broke away yesterday. So Rivian down 1% here, but I think there's obviously something going on here at $10. Some accumulation down there on Rivian. So if it gets down, like Rivian gets down to 10, that seems like a good scalp trade in there. Like it's broken 10 and held like 9.95 several times. So that gives you a nice little window to be on the bid as a day trade on Rivian. Now, because it's already at 10.35, closed at 10.50 yesterday, you probably have to be patient waiting for that one to set up. But I mean, if that's hanging around at lunch and just consolidating off $10, you can do worse than go for a scalp trade when the support's been in there. I just wouldn't expect a dollar move on Rivian because there's no catalyst.
So throughout this year, we've had Tesla talk about ramping up production in their gigafactories. They just released Robotaxi, which they're expecting can generate, I just reading it right now, $153 billion in revenues, in total revenues. They're expecting $25 billion this quarter in sales. We'll see. Analysts are expecting a little lower. Yeah, look, we can all cherry pick this bottom, all right? But Tesla was a $140 stock. It's up like 60% from those bottoms. It's still up nicely, even from this low there of August 30th, where we were at $200. So you're still up that 8-9% from there. And we've had a huge move up. Then, unfortunately, that disappointing day, which was the Robotaxi announcement there. I'm bullish on it. I've talked about why. I think they'll right the ship here today. But the problem is tonight. But the problem is, in my opinion, is, and it kind of sucks about the political aspect of it, but if there's anything negative that comes through on the report for Tesla, people are going to say like Elon is too focused on this campaign and he's lost his way. Twitter seems to have been a disaster of an investment, apparently, what people are saying. User growth down and all that kind of stuff. So has he lost it? Come on. Like, I don't want to judge right now, this kind of a company with this market cap and what this means and what they've done as anything other than remarkable. And I think Tesla has room to go. And I feel like this base, we're going to look back and say, maybe that 225 there would have been a good buy. So we'll have to wait to see. I'd like to see it break that here today. We'll find out what the expected move is. It's generally about 7 to 10% on a Tesla earnings call. So we'll wait to see what's happening with Tesla. But for me today, it's already beating the market. I'd rather be long than short. And I talked about it earlier. This 200 period moving average has meant something yesterday. We were underneath it and it was short. Then we broke it and we went long. So right now, if we stay above, I feel like you want to go long. And if you're underneath the 200, then you stay short. Other than that, let's just wait for 430.
All right, let's go on to Nvidia real quick. There was a note on Apple, move lower there for Apple, down about 0.8%. The information reporting that the company is, quote unquote, going to significantly scale back production of their Vision Pro headset. So again, that's from the information. So a little bit of a move down. For Apple, Nvidia, on the other hand, hanging on to 140 here, 142. Yeah, that's not bad. 230% all-time highs, 230% return so far this year. Yeah, some of these ETFs, though, almost double that, 500% with Nvidia included in them on the year. So it's just been an outrageous year. There was a comment from Jensen, if you mentioned, or if you missed it, talking about the Blackwell chip, that they've resolved this design flaw with TSMC, and everything should be fine now with that.
Yeah, he basically said we had a design flaw in Blackwell, specifically word for word. It was functional, but the design flaw caused the yield to be low. He took accountability, said it was 100% NVIDIA's fault, removing blame from Taiwan Semi. Separately, we know Taiwan Semi could be under investigation. There's no confirmation of that yet, for chips leaking and finding their way to Huawei, specifically that 5G chip that came on the Mate Pro 50. Still unanswered questions as how they were able to make that on scale. So a lot of unanswered questions today with Taiwan Semi.
More on that Apple note, guys. Information now reporting Apple could actually stop making the existing version of the Vision Pro mixed reality headset entirely by the end of this year. That's kind of disappeared entirely. Like you don't hear anyone talking about it at this point. I mentioned to you the last time I was at a movie theater, there was one of the preview or the commercials before the previews was for the Vision Pro headset. And that was the first time I'd even heard of it in months.
And what you told me specifically was the use cases that they were showing were more commercial and just professional. To use your word, which makes more sense because the price point is just far too beyond what a regular consumer is going to want to drop on.
And even the reviews, if you watch some of them online, I mean, most people say, yeah, it's great. It's fun for the first time when you put it on, but the novelty, I think, wears off.
And it's heavy, Brendo.
Yeah.
It's really heavy.
I mean, that may be a meta story because Meta's price point was fantastic. Their demonstration was amazing, and it's got a range on it. Maybe it'll break 540, 584, I think, today. Well, if it can, it's certainly strong relative to the market. The market's down half a point. Meta's essentially flat. So yesterday, you had some leadership with the likes of Microsoft and Meta and Amazon a little bit differently in yesterday's market. Some strength coming back in those Mag 7 names. I think it could end up being more of a Meta story than Apple. It's always been a little bit expensive, and I think Apple's kind of along the lines of, hey, if you don't think it's the right time, then who am I to judge? Like, they tend to get it right in the long run, Apple. So, they'll probably come back with something better and cheaper down the line. But until then, I mean, Meta, I think, took the lead when they had that presentation. Nvidia probably going to test 142 here. Yesterday, you bounced off 142. I think that set up like the obvious support area. With the market being weak and the chips kind of all taking on the chin, you lose 142. 140 stands out like a sore thumb. That was a consolidation. Previously, it was a breakout for prior highs. I think that's the level to work off of. I'm not really in Nvidia short because AMD and that, missing some data there, 15-minute. On the daily chart, you've got AMD losing the 50-period moving average yesterday and now holding underneath it. So it was 154 change, like 154 and a half, the line on the chart under that 50-period. And then you had a double top in there, including in the morning and then in the afternoon. So looking short into 154 and a half. If it's above 155, I guess let it fly. Don't want to be short above that number because that would mean it's regained support here on AMD above the 155 levels. If it does that, then I'd walk away from short. I'd actually be a reverse at 155 if it can show that kind of strength. But I think it's a short into that afternoon high, 154.5 for myself on AMD. As far as Nvidia, if it loses 42, just got to wait for the 40 level because that's a big one.
So I'm going to be just a little more aggressive with AMD. I mean, I still like the 154.50, not 55 level, but I like 154 short sell. So if we can get that coming in through right there, then we'll figure it out with AMD. And again, I was just looking at the trend. I was also made a note there of SMCI. So I like AMD there, but I mean, whatever. You guys, Neil just went over some of the levels there. So I like those same levels. But SMCI is the worst so far today, down 1.5 now as we get updated there. We were down 4% yesterday, SMCI here on a 20-minute chart. I mean, I don't know if it looks better or worse than AMD. I mean, this goes from 50 to 45 much quicker. That was 10% right there. From last week, you're down 10%. But at the end of the day, you do have some levels that could hold 43.50. I'd rather get short SMCI a little bit higher than where we are just because it can move a lot. Despite it being just a $50 name, it can move $3, $4 in a blink of an eye. So I would say for this one, you're looking for $47.50, $48 maybe here for this name. But that's, those are the levels. And, I prefer to trade AMD, a little more comfortable trading it. So I'm going to be short. I'm actually already waiting here at 153.50. So I'm right here, right now, 153.50 on SMCI. So that's what we're doing, waiting for that one to come through. Hopefully that short will hit us, and we'll start to build it into 154, 154.50.
All right, let's touch on Starbucks here. If you were with us in the first 30 minutes, we talked a little bit about it, but not a good look once again this morning, pulling their forecast. I mean, it needs to be done as the new CEO takes over and gets things moving in the right direction. Just side note as well on that, Boeing CEO on CNBC still looks like making some comments here. So Boeing could be moving around here in the next few minutes, but 93 trying to hold right now for Starbucks.
Yeah, so Brian Nichol coming on here, Brendo, and right away he's looking at changing the culture of the company. He's instituting something called Back to Starbucks. What is that? So he wants to simplify the menu, he wants to adjust pricing, and he wants to improve customer service. That's all on the back of a big drop in same-store sales, 7% year over year, Brendo. But some reason, they're increasing their dividend because the company's doing so well, up from 57 cents to 61 makes absolute sense.
A number of analysts echoing that opinion, I think, this morning. I mean, for the most part, it was maintain or reiterating or along those lines, but a lot of them lowering price target for the immediate future. Anyways, guys, for S-Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you'd like to see, okay, well, when you're doing the turnaround, instead of the dividend, maybe use that spending to complete your turnaround, but it is what it is. Like they got a bright mind in there, and I'm not gonna. I think you try to give them the benefit of the doubt because it's gonna take a bit to make this turnaround go. Like you got to revamp the menu and all that good stuff, so it's gonna take a little bit of a minute for them. And ultimately, since you got Nickel in there, it's just you've held the same $90 level on the pullback, and you just essentially bounced off it again. So as far as I'm concerned, it's the same level that's going to work off it. It doesn't look like it because of what happened in the after, like the wildness yesterday, but it's like that 90-91 that sets up on Starbucks. Now the difference is a lot of times if I was bearish, I'd be looking like fade back into the prior high. I just think that for that, the McDonald's 300 is more of the play. So for myself, like McDonald's, I kind of like last night. My first thought was, oh my goodness, it's going to be a pure SSR bounce play off the 200-period moving average, which was $280. I'm like, okay, it'll be 10% down. It'll bounce off the 200-period moving average. I feel like, in an essence, that's happened on McDonald's. And I don't think I'd trade Starbucks today. It's going into McDonald's. That's pretty much happened. I don't think it's as likely if it gets down there. You've already made a pretty significant bounce overnight. But the push back into prior high is that 300 area on Mickey D. So, that's the one I'd probably look at. If we get up into the 300, that would be a fade. 280 wants to come in. It should be like it'll be down 10% if it goes to $280 today. That would have been the play I was looking for. And it felt like last night that was going to be something that was in play, but you never really know. It's gapped back up this morning. So that's going to be out the window, barring something extreme on Mickey D's. But I mean, McDonald's 10% down, that's an SSR bounce shot at that 200 period moving average if it can get there. But the 300 pull back into prior support.
Yeah, for me, Starbucks, I have it written down here as the #1 trade if it can come in here for today for me on the sticky note. I mean, #1 doesn't really matter, but it's the #1 idea there. $96. I think it's a kitchen sink quarter. I mean, they're just telling you that it's going to be bad, so we sort of know about that. And if the market is like, okay, it's going to be that bad and China's going to be bad and they're trying to revamp the whole experience. We talked about this yesterday, becoming more of like a coffee house experience like it used to be. We could go in there and chill out and yada, yada, yada. Now you get people, the lineups are huge and they're trying to figure that all out, get a little faster service. But for me, I just thought that, hey, if this is what it is, then this is 96 right here. And all I wrote down was yesterday it was support. Today, I think it could be resistance. So if we get a move up to 96, let's short this thing. But it was on the way up, and now it's on the way back down. When it's at $94 here, when we put this thing out, the sticky note, it's more likely, not more likely, but it has a chance to get up there. Now you're breaking through 93. So I think if we're going to go short, we probably have to change our ideas here into 94 maybe for Starbucks, and then just see if there's anything there. Okay, that's too much of a gap. I have to fix that chart. Remember, I just did that yesterday. So just coming in, there's 96. We've seen it hold in and around these areas before. Wouldn't be surprised if we find a base. But there is that sort of shoot first, ask questions last, because there's this huge move down to 88 where we finally found some support. It's just like it's an early release. So on earnings here, Starbucks down 4%. Makes sense to me. And it's negative report, so I'm going to go short. So right there, 96, maybe 95.50, 94.50. So let's try to start the offering in and around 94.50. Let's see what happens. But we're not going to get involved with this one until about 9:45-ish. We'll try not to anyways, unless that 96 is hit.
Personality. Enphase went out to a weekly chart here to give you a perspective. You got to go all the way back to November of 2023. That's 74.50, I guess, at the low there. We're coming into that in a hurry. Yep, that's 340 at the highs, going back to a couple of years back. But yeah, Enphase earnings not good. These are weekly candles. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row here already to the downside.
Yeah, it's a tough chart to look at, Brendo, there. So they missed on the top and bottom line. So revenue below expectations, adjusted earnings below expectations. Ironically enough, U.S. revenue grew nicely, 43% quarter over quarter. It was really Europe here that kept things back. European revenue dropped about 15%. The Enphase does expect Q4 revenue to be between $360 to $400 million, which again is below analyst expectations. And gross margins are contracting. Brendo, 47.5. The street was looking for 49 to 52.
Yeah, no bounce whatsoever since the numbers came out after the close yesterday. Straight southbound, guys.
It hasn't looked good so far this morning. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of a relief rally, as we've seen. But I wanted to get to a super chat. Thank you, first of all, Pimpy Longstonking there for the $5 super chat. Saying solar loses if Trump Elon wins is unfounded. So if that's what I said, I agree. But I don't think that's what I've ever been getting at, or what we'll say is the price action has sort of spoken for itself. It's like the whole idea of when the odds started shifting in the favor of Trump, the solar names lost the bid and then sort of trended down a little bit heavier. So that's what was happening, and you can see that exemplified in maybe a daily chart of TAN, if I wanted to throw that one up. So like you just had a recent rejection when the odds shifted, you saw a pushback to lows. And again, it's just a price action. Whatever happens after the election. But as far as Enphase goes, so I mean, technically speaking, you have a couple of obvious areas down here. It's hard to see because my head's going to be in the way. So I'll just do that to make it simple for you guys. You've got 73.5 as a 52-week low, but you've got 71.5 just because it's going to sit down there. I think that on a closing basis, I mean, if it gets down to that low, I'm looking for SSR bounce areas, right? So in that range, down here, 71.5, and then 75. In between, it's like an even dollar. I would look for failed breaks to the downside or trend reversal. It's like, well, what does a trend reversal look like? It has to get to those levels. It's going to be SSR, but I want a steep downtrend into the levels on the daily, and then a close back above, and then take a long. So hasn't gotten to 75 or that 71.5 zone yet, but I think once it does, I'm looking for just a pure SSR bounce play. VWAP is pretty much always a target on a play like that. So Enphase is going to have to be patient. I did, when I sat down, I thought if it breaks 80, I want to look short in the 82.5 zone to 85 to look for reversion the other way. Clearly, it went down first, putting those bids and the SSR bounce play in front of the mind. The short the pop above 80, that's a back burner idea for now, as it's clearly bleeding further.
Okay, so we're just looking here at Enphase. I mean, I got a question in the chat earlier about the TAN ETF. Yeah, I mean, I would rather be in, an ETF where you can get First Solar. I mean, Solar Edge has been a disaster ever since that left the S&P 500 as well. But you're breaking lower. So I just think if you like the space and it's like that uranium ETF, right? URA. That hit some levels and started to blast off when uranium started getting talked about again. But hey, if uranium's going, there's reasons. They're choosing a different energy path. And right now, I guess it's too expensive for many, many homes and residential to grab some of the solar names right here. So until the tide sort of change on here, I don't know if it's going to be more government funding, if it's going to be, different benefits to purchase, deals. It's bad. So this is First Solar, and we were talking about this with Brian Shannon. He was in it and out of it, and it's a good thing he was out of it because this name continues to go lower as well. So this, to me, has always been best of breed. I don't know enough about the space. I don't know if it's Rivian Millionaire. There's some people in the chat there that were talking about Enphase for a minute. Maybe it wasn't you. But First Solar right here, again, if you're going to pick up a name, it's now under the 200 period moving average. You generally don't want to catch names as they fall through. But if it can hold 200 and maybe get above this 210 area, I think First Solar might be a better play than Enphase right now.
All right, we'll touch on crypto here to wrap things up. Just real quick, there was the Bear Cave short note on Hershey.
Oh,
how dare they? Chocolate company. So yeah, the Bear Cave short Hershey apparently. So heads up on HSY. Doesn't really trade much typically HSY, but just be aware of that. We'll touch on some crypto names here. Downside this morning to the tune of 2.3% right now for Coinbase. There's nothing individual really to mention as far as news is concerned, but there's IBIT, the BlackRock ETF, double bottom forming there on the 15-minute chart, but down this morning.
So we had a net outflow finally after 7 days of net inflows into the spot ETFs. About $79 million left the spot ETFs yesterday. Ironically enough, IBIT gained about $43 million. It was ARK's ETF that saw significant outflows to the tune of about $135 million. Bitcoin futures show a slight correction in open interest as traders possibly, unwind positions, and the futures volume plateau is kind of indicating at this point that, the market's pausing, awaiting new catalysts. So we'll have to wait and see how this does.
Okay, my apologies.
What happened?
It was Grizzly research. Grizzly, the Bear Cave. Close enough.
The Bear Cave is a better name for a short seller. Short selling company than Grizzly. I don't know. That feels a little weak. You can come like if you're gonna do that, you want to stand out there. Why not stand out from the crowd? But it doesn't really matter. And oddly enough, I looked over and I was kind of sure this was going to be true. I'm going to get to Mara and Bitcoin in a second, but I was kind of sure this would be true. But lo and behold, Hershey's at 52-week lows as we speak, or rather, I should say, on that report, bouncing off of 52-week lows as we speak. I'd like to think when you get a short seller report, if you hold support, then this is headed back into the 50 and 200 period moving averages. Thank you very much there. If you're addicted to chocolate, you probably eat a lot of Hershey's. You're addicted to coffee, then you drink a lot of coffee. Thank you, Rob, for that.
Thank you.
No, but obviously,
whoa.
You pretty much never see a short seller report come out when it's at a resistance level. Typically, you're already down at support. So exit liquidity, if it holds the next couple of days, might be worth a nice little bounce shot. But as far as Bitcoin goes, we've seen what's happened or what didn't happen over the weekend with regards to that test of 70,000 that didn't really materialize, didn't break trend line. You lost that support, which was like 66.6 to 66.7 yesterday and consolidated under. That ended up being like $38 in IBIT. Traded it twice off that level, had it on the way down, which was a mistake, then had it on the way up, which was good. So I think that's the same place to look. Although I have the eyeballs on Mara, because Mara, oddly enough, like despite all of that weakness that you saw in BTC, well, I mean, relative weakness. I mean, it's not that bad on a daily chart. Mara got right back up to 19 a couple times there. So it's still got the 19 resistance, call it 1915, 1910 breakout setup for it. So it's a nice consolidation. It's also the 200 period moving average. But yeah, I think if you break out that support or prior support on BTC, Mara sets up for a break again. But it's been there for a few days and it hasn't broken. So the day it does, still want to be looking at it. I know it's been a few days coming and we haven't seen that breakout, but hey, it's consolidating and trying to go here. So the day it happens, you don't want to miss out. Mara has been weak, but hey, I was surprised to see it actually get back to 19 at the end of the day yesterday.
Yeah, so I actually wrote down here on the note today as well for IBIT, right? But I also wrote down here that I was feeling pretty bearish as we talked about it here. SMH and the semis starting to head to the downside. And I feel like NASDAQ and Bitcoin, although they're not completely tied at the hip or anything like that, I feel like there is some sort of a connection there. But I just thought 38 short sell, 66 is in question here. BTC needs to hold, and it is early. So I just want to say that we are holding these levels. But here on IBIT, I'm sitting here right now. I don't know if I should be. I mean, I was going to take this 38. I'm sitting at 37.95 right now. And I'm going to take it still, just because we broke underneath. This is IBIT, right? I'm going to call up the Bitcoin chart in just a second as we have only 4 minutes. And okay, this is the last. Okay, that's good. But there's the 200 period. We broke it. We ripped. We're hovering around it. We're under. Let's try to use some support here, or sorry, some resistance here from the 200 period moving average on this 20-minute chart. So that's what we're going to try to do here with IBIT. And I said we'd look at Bitcoin real quick time. So let's do that real right now with TradingView. Okay, so there it is. There's the bounce. We looked at this before. It just bounced off 66 basically exactly. We're underneath the 50 period. We're underneath the 200. The trend seems to be down. I mean, if we're going to look at even a little bit of a larger time frame here, 30 minutes, doesn't really matter. You're starting to break, right? I mean, it's just, let's see if it can hold 66. That's the line in the sand that we're talking about right here. We didn't really hold it there. We didn't hold it there. We bounced back into 65 too. So if we do that, then the short will win today and we'll be fine. So we're going to wait to see if we can get a fill here off the open on BTC up here near 37.90. I'm at 37.95. So that's that. Other than that here, we will go to Sharif in just one quick second. I just want to show you, people are asking him sort of about the imbalances at this point in time. There's nothing on here whatsoever. There was no big NASDAQ names on here. There was nothing to affect anything. McDonald's is a sell, but that's been holding out okay this morning, only down that 7%. Joby, people are talking about in the chat as well. Save we didn't get to, but on our watch list. All right, Sharif, what's going on, big dog?
But continuation gaps, otherwise known as runaway gaps today, guys, on the How to Trade Midday show. So catch that with Satya and I today at 11.
That's right.
Runaway gaps, that's what it's all about. So Spirit Airlines, look, 600,000 buy and balance. Spirit's done 8 million shares. There is the talk of JetBlue Spirit, I guess getting that deal back. What's crazy about it is you don't let them do a combination, and then now something will happen when they got to go bankrupt. So it's a bit of a squeeze play, I suppose, on Save. Did a little bit yesterday and the last couple of days, and now you're holding above 250, the obvious level to work on over to. Just going back over to McDonald's here. McDonald's still at 92. If it does a big move up to press into that 300 prior resistance, I want to look there. We already went over AMD and Nvidia. We didn't really talk too much about Apple and Microsoft. Microsoft was the leader of the pack yesterday, I believe it was, percentage-wise. Yeah, don't at me if something else was up like a couple points more in the Mag 7. But like Microsoft closing on highs, actually above those highs as well. If you're looking continuation on Softy, you can do a heck of a lot worse than the afternoon support at about 428.5. So I like AMD for a pop and fade. I like McDonald's for a pop and fade. And then Enphase, if it breaks 75, looking for an SSR bounce off of that open. DJT did make a breakout as well. I know we forgot something. We didn't even talk about DJT. It did make that breakout, that 34.5 from the daily chart and that double top, gapped above it, so you didn't get to trade that, obviously, this morning, unless you pull back in to that 34.5. That's where I'm looking for a consolidation and then a continuation play on DJT. And once again, Funware and Rumble also going in sympathy with DJT, which is up 3%, but it was as high as 36. So that 34.5 zone, the key one to come back is we have a hump day. Ringing of the bell brought to you by Adara over there. What's going on? Oh no, blank screen. And now in 3, 2, and 1 with the mirrors of death. Let's ring it, Adara.
Mirrors
an interesting look.
Yeah, it is an interesting look there. Okay, just waiting to see this market settle down just a little bit here. I'm waiting for AMD to do something. We just touched the 200 period moving average. That's not good enough for us. No, too early for that, too early for that. I did say it, yep. All right, so here we go, 153.50 coming in here. We will start a short in and around there. We got to watch out, man. I mean, this market could rip up. Well, we just got missed there. Let's be patient. We almost got it right there at 153.50. So hopefully it does come in, and we'll see what winds up happening in and around that level for AMD. So again, a weaker name here as the market starts to shoot up. Let's just, that's too bad. Tesla. We should have that. Is Tesla finally going? Look at Nvidia down as well. Maybe this is the weaker name here, Nvidia versus this AMD.
Yeah, Nvidia is the one that broke the low. Tesla just went crazy. I mean, Tesla just went all the way to $218. I mean, Amazon did not give a dip buy. Enphase didn't even move down like a smidgen off the open. Right away, it's bouncing to 78. Wow. So it might turn into, if there's no SSR bounce, because sometimes you get right away. Got to wait for it to get to that 80 to 82 zone to look for any kind of a short. So heading to the downside is Nvidia. Yeah, it's already down at 141. Got to wait for this 140 level to come in, as it's absolutely flushing in there. And AMD, that's not available. Yeah, cancel. Maybe it can get back into VWAP for a continuation play, but you're losing the bid on these semis pretty heavily. We just missed here on AMD. So I was telling you we were just there. We're like, well, we're going to get this at 153.50. So we just missed there $1.50 by 4 cents. It went to 153, and we were watching it. We were right on the screen, 153.46. That's crazy. That would have been, I mean, that would have been nice to get that going. All right, so we're short into SMCI. Again, I'm just going to go somewhere different. This name has taken off, so it's going actually upside now. So I'm going to try to take a little bit of advantage of that, see if we're going to be right with a short in semis. And this is the name that here, we can give it up to 96. Still was thinking about Starbucks. 46.50 or so here for SMCI. We're going to give it some room, but it is going the other way right now. So, oh man, that is just a shame there on AMD, because we had that. It should have been a dollar winner. We missed it by a couple pennies, and I didn't want to punch down. You know what? I started chasing it. My offers, I actually have an offer here at 153.17 and then 152.90. So we got missed on all of those on the way down there. So that's too bad. Missed the short by 4 cents, but woe is me. That can happen at any point. All right, we'll get a little more here. We'll punch with SMCI. See if we can get a little more short here. SMCI, here it goes, man. There it is. It's a 20-cent winner. Yeah, I'm going to look for the first available pop on AMD, just because, you know, at this point, like, you could have a VWAP retracement. You could have a 153. Just want to see where it goes. I mean, pre-market lows were down here at 152.60 as well. But as long as they're looking this week, I mean, this is Nvidia almost at that 140 level. Those are the two things on the radar. McDonald's is not really moving. It's at 295, no test of 300 in play. So 140 on AMD, just going to have to wait around for that one, as you're getting the first available pop here on Advanced Micro Devices back into pre-market lows. So I'm going to see if we can't get into that one. Obviously, Nvidia at that 140 is 50 cents away. So once that comes in, want to look for that bounce and a reversion play on Nvidia. Really nothing going on in Mickey D's, like I said. And then Enphase. Enphase was a very particular idea. You wanted it to head to the downside, and then pop. Instead, it's just only pop. So I got to wait for it to get into the 82 zone. Want to look to fade that one as well. My wife got the new Matty Matheson cookbook yesterday, and it's a tuna melt tonight, so I'm very, very excited for that one. All right, so let's ring the register a little bit there. We get out of half only on SMCI, so there it is right there. I hope this can be a much bigger trade. So down here into the 50-period moving average is 45.30s.
So I am bidding right now 45.20 to see if we can get even through that. That bottom's been 45. Let's see if the market wants to be weak. We said we were feeling a little bit bearish, so let's stick to that tune. We missed the AMD trade, but we'll still be there if it comes back up into that level. We wanted to look at IBIT. We talked about what potentially crypto wanted to do today. Oops, IBIT right there. So let's have a quick look. So it does get there. We were at 95. It doesn't look like this wants to move that much here today. I don't know what's going on exactly with it, but it's just hovering here with not too much volume and not too many movement here, although crypto is at 66.50, right, 66.500 right now. All right, SMCI still continuing to be weak right now, but the market just dancing around some of these lows. So if SMCI does come up, remember where our stop is going to be, up in and around here, 46.50 or so for SMCI. Will be, we'll reload it around 46.20. We want to get a little bit of a better price than where we have right now, but that's the plan of action here for me on that one as AMD's coming right back up. I see that. Oh, you got long AMD, nice.
No, you know what it is?
Go ahead.
Well, I did get long, but that was because I wasn't all in, and we had to change that stop order. So it's like
that's still not working?
It's a habit thing for me. You have 100% stop, and you can do 50, 25, 75% stops. But if you don't have the entirety of a position and you put a size out instead of the 100%, then you essentially flip the other direction because I didn't even get into all of the shorts. So I just immediately punched out of that long. So we got out at 153. I did get some out at 10s and like 20s, but again, that's more of like a fluke that long even worked. I was not intending to be in that long position. Now that it's broken past VWAP in here, if it breaks that top, wait for 154 once again. McDonald's looks like it's going to be a nothing burger, unfortunately. Like, it's not even moving right now on McDonald's, but I don't want to lose sight of the fact that I believe it already made the bounce off the 280 and the 200 period moving average. So it's trying to go. If it breaks the high, still waiting for 300. But if we fail this opening range top break, I still got to look for the short in McDonald's. It's so far removed from that 280. And Tesla, we thought might be a nothing burger, but Tesla's going to challenge the top end of the range. So if it's going to stay inside of the range of the week, that was 220 is Monday, and then 222. Those are going to be the fade spots. I thought we'd have an inside day. Looks like that's exactly what we're going to get. Amazon not quite down into that 187 where it's been bouncing, 187 and 186. But today it looks like it wants 188. I like Amazon longs. I thought we'd get a chance at that 187, but seems to me like it's catching a bit of a bid here. That's a reversal candle on AMZN.
All right, so I just keep on taking some 50 fills here. There we go, get another one at 51 here on SMCI. Let's go. Let's try to bleed, man. I mean, this is going to be, again, a banger, hopefully. It's already 50 cents. I mean, if you guys want to start to take some out right now, go ahead and do it. I'm out of about a third of the position now, maybe not even. So trying to let this thing go back in. Okay, we just bounced off the 50 period again. All right, I was waiting. I'm going to put something out here at all right, let's put something out there in the 40s, low 40s, 41s. It doesn't matter. I'll tell you what it is. So hopefully that'll come back in again, and we'll get that. That little bottom wick right there just went to 35. So there it is. Wow, okay. We're starting it off again. Yesterday we talked about the big trade that we started with on Apple, and right now it looks like it's going to be SMCI as posted there on the watch list today. SMCI for the short as well as AMD. We just got missed again on AMD short. I mean, what a surprise there. I went to 45 or 44 this time. It went to 37s, or else there would be another 50-cent winner for your boy there on AMD if you got it right there. So Neil's back into the short on AMD, that's good. We're now 50, 60 cents, now 70 cents in the money on SMCI. That's the crazy part about this. This is only a $45 name, and it's starting to move like this. So far so good here on SMCI. We'll just wait, man. I mean, Bitcoin's starting to go back up. Maybe we'll get that 38 short on IBIT. And then let me just quickly check Snapchat here as we go. Snapchat 10 was what we were looking for. Snapchat actually goes the other way, goes upside right there for Snapchat. So yeah, man, so far so good here with SMCI. Let's see where we go.
Yeah, AMD did another wick at the top. It doesn't seem like it wants to hold above that pre-market high. So again, like if you're gonna get that, if you're gonna get that press into 154, it's gonna have to come another way here. So we just got some out there in front of VWAP, looking for a play back in a prior high. That's 153.35 is the prior high here on AMD. This time we'll make sure we actually stop for the right amount. And I do believe we're going to go to Darren in a quick little second. I did want to go, before we get to that, McDonald's also failed its failed its opening range top. So it just came right back under. It's got a wick basis at 296. So looking for a fade off of that high. Let it press back up, fail the high, and then jump out on, or jump in on McDonald's here. Let's go to Adair.
Watch out for Upwork here. UPWK, this one at day's highs, making new day's highs with increasing volume here off the open, up about 24, almost 25% now. Announcing this morning they're having some organizational changes in order to help drive their growth. They also provided positive preliminary Q3 revenue guidance, so stronger than expected Q3 preliminary revenue for UPWK. Also saying they're expecting to save $60 million here in annual cost savings and reducing its workforce by 21%. So some organizational and operational updates, sending UPWK up about 25% this morning. They have a market cap of just over $1 billion and a short float of 10.4%, guys.
Okay, because thank you for that so much, Adara. I didn't have her in my ear there, but was trying to listen. We just got SMCI down there at 45.15. That was that low that we were talking about. That's the banger trade of the day right there. It's SMCI. Short 46s, man. Out 45.15. There it goes. It's a big one. It's for all of you guys out there who are looking to short into the chip day. We picked on SMCI. So just trying to stick with our own notes here. SMCI, we talked about short. AMD, we're looking for that 154 level. We'll try to be patient with that one coming up to 155. We want to look at Snapchat. DJT, forgot about some DJT. Oh, so I am now out of 2/3 of SMCI. So just to give everybody an update there. DJT right now starting to go again, man, up 5%, just wick down to the bottom of 34.75 there on Donald J. So we'll have to see where that one wants to go now, but it looks like it wants to go lower, higher now for Donald, up through 36.50. We did talk about it, about the odds, and I was actually looking at them earlier today, and it was about the same thing there on Kalshi. It's 61.39 right now, and so that's what that is coming through. We'll figure out where it's going just a week and a bit away until we find out more and more about what the vote's really going to be like. So there goes $36 right now. It is DJT, and it is sirens up for that one. And it's also the biggest trade here for me today. Well, I only have one trade. I think you've only been in, you're in AMD again right there. So Neil's been in AMD, McDonald's right here. As you can see, we're in SMCI, baby.
Yeah, and I'm close to wanting to get into Nvidia, but not yet. I mean, the market's still trying to catch a bit of a bid, so McDonald's is the only new one in there. It just came back into that 296, but it's holding VWAP multiple times here, holding VWAP. I got some out in front. Going to try to take some more out in front of VWAP as it's pressing higher. If we hold VWAP for a higher low, no reload because it's trending up. Got to see confirmation that this is going to lose VWAP and roll back over. I want to make sure we're taking profit out in front. Nvidia is trying, but not doing a very good job of holding 141 in here. See what's going on here. You're getting a little bit of a higher low. Didn't quite get all the way to 140. I was sitting at 22s. I've canceled. It didn't get to that final quarter, but holding a higher low here on Nvidia. I'd like to see it give fills. It's too close to VWAP to want a long. I want to see it play down underneath 141 or break out above VWAP. Was that Adara?
Strong volume here continuing for TVGN, though it has made a little bit of a pullback in this most recent 5-minute candle. TVGN Bio announcing here that its AI effort or subsidiary is actually joined at this Microsoft for Startup program. So MSFT program being joined here by TVGN subsidiary. It's worth noting they have run in the past. They're 87.75% insider owned, so decent percentage insider owned here out of their 20.88 million share float for TVGN, guys.
All right, we have a new position as well right now. It's going to be Starbucks. So there goes Starbucks right now. We are now short, right where we said we would be. It is your 96 trade short right here for Starbucks. We'll give it a couple pennies to the upside through that 96 level if it goes through 96.20 or so. And then let's go, man. Pound the alarm one more time again as SMCI gave us another fill down there near 45. So we actually get a 15s and a 21s on SMCI. We'll wait to see if we can get a little bit lower on this name here as it continues to make the moves there. We had written down Snapchat as a long at $10. I mean, it never fell in. Fine. I didn't really want to punch that long off the jump there, but you could see Snapchat, nice move to the upside right there on that upgrade today. feel like that's probably about enough. I don't want to go long at this area. Running into 1050, I'd rather hold off there on Snapchat and see if we can get some more actionable plays there. DJT, let's go back over. I did not pay for shorts. Yeah, we were talking about, well, it's still 36 bucks. So when we were last looking at it, it was right here. But as we just mentioned, it seems to be going through this $36 level right now. So, I'm in that news play with Starbucks to the short side. That's a flat trade. Deal's got McDonald's over there. Let's go check out what's going.
Yeah, McDonald's finally broke VWAP, and then as you're going to see right here on McDonald's, it finally broke VWAP and snapped back up off the 239 level. So I got 95 half with a 96 stop. There will be slippage on McDonald's by at least 25 to 30 cents on any level. So a 26 stop, you're getting filled somewhere between 26 even and then 50s. But look at it, the rejection of VWAP in there. The second I saw it bounce off 23, I took more shares out there at the half for a couple of bucks. But if this gets back into the high, I'm still, I'm going to tighten it up even more. Before I had it slightly above 96. This time, if it gets even anything above 96, I'm going to jump out of that one. I just have to using a different key, so I'm like actually typing price manually, which is what it is. It's a little bit slower, but it's fine. I'm only in 2 stocks. And the AMD just retagged the same high coming into VWAP on its own. But you're getting a bit of a theme here. You're getting a bit of a theme. You're holding these VWAP holds on the back end. So you're not breaking out the high, but you're holding on to VWAP. And I just bid 85s in there to catch a fill in front of VWAP. You need to break VWAP. The market's breaking low. So while both of these have come back down, you're not exactly flushing, which is what I'm expecting out of both of these names. So McDonald's is back to 95. That's where we took some profit at the 93.5. AMD back into VWAP. Needs to bust VWAP next. Adara?
We're noting we just got that Bank of Canada rate decision coming in here. So they cut base rates by 50 basis points. This was in line with estimates. Current rate here, 3.75% versus the forecast of 3.75% and previous of 4.25%. So again, just to go over that, there it was an in line with estimates 50 basis point rate cut here by the Bank of Canada, guys.
There, Adara. So, all right, we got stopped out of our Starbucks. We're still in some at 96.08 right here, but it did take that 96.20. I was just like, oh my God, you're going to go like on that announcement, which was pretty bad. You're going to go green today. So let's see if it does. I was going to give it to 96.50 now, and then that would be the end of that one. Being a little bit stubborn there, trying to hold on to that last 25%, and we'll get a little bit more closer to 42.50. But yeah, all right, there it is, man. It's your first dollar club right there. It is SM. Well, I think maybe McDonald's is as well. We do have a nice little winner there on SMCI, just a $46 name, but the downside continues. We talked about SMCI yesterday and what that looked like, down 4%, and it really started to go there yesterday. And now it looks like it wants to continue that sort of trend here today. But again, trend is your friend, as we always say. And right now, it looks like it wants to continue to go to the downside. So let's hold on to that one. Okay, so again, we talked about this. We lined up our share size a little bit here, trying to short IBIT. And the reason why is, look at what Bitcoin is doing, 66.8. But never fear, we just came into that level right there. We should have been sitting there. We were looking at SMCI. We should have been looking over here at IBIT. So let's go over there and start to look at IBIT right now and figure out what levels we want to do this with. So, to be wrong, we just bounced off 68,000 again there. So I believe, 67,000. So 38.10 seems to be a decent spot. Let's see about getting some now. We're a little bit light on it, so we should be getting some more shares if we get an opportunity to do that. And then what about this little level right there? That's 38.10. Give it a little bit of room. 38.15. Where's 38.20s? Not bad. What does it look like here? Is there anything that we can support? Yeah, there's 38.20. Okay, so 38.20, 38.25 is where we're going to definitely hang up the gloves here on IBIT. But for now, let's wait and see if we can get this name a little lower, especially if Bitcoin doesn't want to hold 67. But again, that 38.20 will continue to play the momentum to the downside, trying to use the 50-period moving average, 38.20, as our stop. And we will get more right in here if it can get up to this level, 10s, 12s, 15s, something like that. SMCI downside, Starbucks now 10 cents in the money, now looking to get lower. Oh, that's too bad, because we did get stopped out there up at the high side. Need to make a little bit back here on S-Bucks.
Yeah, the market actually getting back and holding some lows there. I'm noticing, oddly enough, Tesla goes down when the market starts to come back up. That's weird. Nvidia is above VWAP. So before I go to DJT, I did just get a fill in AMD, and I was already filled in front of VWAP, and then saw this, Nvidia breaking and holding above VWAP on its own, so I took more out. I'm now over half out of the reload on AMD. You're just holding higher lows at this point, so it's higher lows into a potential flat top on this stock while Nvidia is trying to catch a bit of a bid. DJT's at VWAP, and obviously, it started going off the open with a 35 retest. I want to see if we can get into the trend here. Now that you've made a bit of a defined bottom and a higher low, the trend line lines up currently with VWAP. So I'd like to see it bounce off VWAP, give me a little consolidation, and we'll try to join this long. I like 34.5, maybe a little bit better, but you're not going to get that price if it's above VWAP. Let's go to Adara.
Small cap on watch here. La Rosa Holding Corp. This one currently halted here. LRHC. It's run in the past. It's a real estate related name. Up over 200% here. Announcing preliminary revenue for the first 9 months of 2024, saying that apparently grew by 120%. So great preliminary revenue report here for LRHC. They also do have here a float of 10.86 million shares. So not a huge float. Market cap $16.1 million, and 35% of their float is insider owned, guys, for LRHC.
Thank you very much, Adara. And the tap on the blockchains, the tap on LRHC is $1.50. It's a NASDAQ stock. A lot of times if it's a NASDAQ, not in New York, then it's not going to give you a big update. So that's not necessarily indicative of where it's going to open up. It just currently says $1.50. It halted at 148. I mean, obviously that wouldn't be a move at all. But it's a $1 trade, I think, on that previous breakout. So support at $1 usually on those. We'll keep track of it. If you guys ever want to know what the theoretical auction price is on anything that's halted, it takes 2 seconds to find out, piped into our system here at Real Trading. So finally, AMD gets underneath VWAP, just tagged 152.5. Need to get it back into 152 even. When you go back out on the daily here, like yesterday's lows, 152, morning low, 152. So obviously, I mean, you don't have to be a charter market technician, want to take some out if it gets to 152 even. Well, no, seriously, it's like it's yesterday's low, it's today's low, so right now it's support on AMD at 152. It's just that simple.
Yeah, look, chip names all about here today as SMCI going to be a big one. We just took some more out, though, because we did rip back up, but these were good outs. Let's hold out just in case the market continues to do this. All right, good reload there on IBIT. We're flat on the stock now. We're just going to wait to see. We only got 03s up there, so we take a 95, then an 03, giving us this price of 97. So we actually didn't take as many shares up there at 03. We talked about wanting to get it mid-teens, so we wait patiently for that mid-teen print right now to come in. So what else, man? I mean, people talking, because you guys remember yesterday we had one red stock on the board for me yesterday, and that was going to be SoFi. And yeah, it did that move again. Like we went downside and then we went upside. Like this is exactly what it did yesterday, which is why I was like, to everybody there. There was, wait a second, is this SoFi? Yeah, okay, so that's SoFi yesterday, all right. Did I have this trade yesterday? No, I had it 2 days ago, didn't I? No, it was yesterday. Yeah, so there's the 1050. Okay, so that's what it was. It did the move once it broke the 52-week high. It didn't do it early, my bad. Right, we were in SoFi right there, had to get out when it dripped below. It broke through the 200 period at that time, trust me. And then we bought back, again, a third of it to take it out near the highs of the day at the end of the day. But you could see SoFi today, and my bad, it's not the same as yesterday. Yesterday, we started to go up, took out the high, then flush. Today we flush early, then go right back into that exact, I mean, is that? Yeah, so there it goes again. Takes out the high right there. This time it only goes 3 cents. So be careful, potential pullback for SoFi. We saw it break the high yesterday and come back in. SOFI on watch right now. Oh boy, Starbucks, man, we're going to see if we can get that one back in again. So we did take a hit. We did take some more shares. We believe in that position. So right now we're short at 96.10 here on SoFi with a decent amount of shares. I am bidding 80s if we can get. Bang. Very happy with this. We did get some out there breaking through that level, so all good right there. Let's go Starbucks. Maybe we can get this move down here is what we're waiting for. I'm at 95.50s right here on Starbucks. Just see if we get a little, retracement back in right now on this name. That would be nice if so.
Yeah, that's what I like to see. And there might not be a VWAP test on DJT. DJT's it's gunning for the high of the day. If it breaks the high of the day, I'm going to sit it out. I'm only looking for dip buys in the stock. The breakouts, not interested, only looking for buys off support. However, if we fail break this high on DJT, it's a double top, it's pre-market highs as well. I've got my eyes on Funware, just like yesterday. Any fail break DJT, the locates are free at Real Trading on Funware. We'd have to pay for DJT. I want to look at that break. If it fails it, look for a reversion short on Funware, which is starting to set up an upward trend here. So it's got an upward trend. It's got its pre-market highs as well. AMD's still doing pretty much the same thing. As I said, we already got some out at the $0.50. You still have McDonald's right off of this 296. So at the one shot, and then it holds a higher low. So no reload into this trend up now in McDonald's. Like, it's not a big, massive, significant price level. Again, it's just the high. I think 300 is a little bit more significant. So no reload for myself there. Had my stop. We just got out at 25s. So I tightened it up from, I had my stop set on a break of 296.12s, actually. I tightened it up to 02s. That way I get a little bit less slippage. Don't even want to let it get back into the high. Just want to stay green on it. But it's now higher lows on McDonald's. So I have to back off, wait for the 300 level like we had as planned before. So it's still just in AMD. Holding under VWAP for now. Still wanted to get down to that 152. Maybe the quarters first, but I've been sitting at 10s for a while here. Let's go to Adara.
Be aware here of these cannabis-related stocks, ACB and CGC on watch. CGC having slightly more volume than ACB, which from last time I checked has not even traded more than 500,000 shares today. So be aware, lower volume, but these names got a bit of a pop yesterday, midday. Wasn't able to see any news, but I will say this morning we have a lot more social media mentions on ACB and CGC than what I was seeing yesterday. So possible social media attention for the often exciting marijuana-related stocks this morning, guys.
Right about that. We had some good movements yesterday in those names. Yes, that is right. Everyone heard Adara say puff, puff, pass right there. So we will do this and we will go. Yeah, that is the rule. So there it is right there. Okay. All right, so there comes moving back in. Whoopsies. Again, man, these charts are very, very aggressive today. Starbucks. So we only got one out down there at 80, and then it bounced right back up. So I don't know, man. It seems like they like this restructuring plan. It wasn't even really a plan. They just had sort of talked about what they're trying to do with the stores. We could be wrong on this, and we've been wrong so far. We took one hit. 96.50 is going to be the stop zone for me. I do have an offer at 96.30 to get a little bit more. That has been the high of the day. It's been 25s. I'd like to see a test there, come back in one more time. But yeah, we didn't even think about retracing back on S-Bucks right now. So that name, boom, to the upside right here as we will continue to look short right now on Starbucks and trying to get that back a little bit there. Okay, so I've been not doing anything. SMCI, okay. You don't get fill unless you put it out, baby. So right there's another fill. It's just right where we are right now, but 32s. So right there, we take that fill on SMCI for 50 pennies there. So feel pretty good about this name, but we're going to wait to see what winds up happening. Looks like Starbucks right now wants to once again test. So we're going to have to deal with this position. We're short at 20s right here. Yeah,
there goes DJT. It did break the high. So
again?
Yeah, there was no, like I said, there's no dip. Right now, here's what I'm looking at. It's DJT trying to take over that high. If it fails the high break, looking for the short on Funware as we speak. So we're right back underneath that high. Gonna get into Funware. I just essentially punched into Funware and gave it to the local top up there, which is like 1470 is the local high on Funware. So just saw it wick underneath. If we're not gonna make fresh highs on Funware while DJT is going, that's the only entry parameter that I have for shorting this name. Again, just watching one to play off the other. Still the same thing happening over in AMD. And then McDonald's, I don't want to say I'm not done with McDonald's. Of course it's New York. But it's almost at that 300 level. So no reload. Initial short was let it make a wick high, get back underneath, but no fail of VWAP, right? So higher lows. I think I got to set up a trend reversion trade. So I'm forgetting about this and now looking at the higher low on Mickey D's. Either we get a trend back there or we wait for it to get to $300. If it gets to 300, I'm looking for a fade in and around that level. Just let it get to the price. DJT trying to go. Nvidia not really giving you, unless you shorted Nvidia off of the open, it hasn't given you much, but the press back into that 140 level starting to come back in. So it bounced once at 140.40. Hasn't actually gotten to 140 even, but I feel like that's going to be incoming almost any second now. So weakness in Nvidia, the 140 level was of course the key breakout price previously. Let's see how it does as support, which I think is about to get tested. So the only new position was Funware fade off of pre-market highs as DJT tried to break out of those highs. Let's go over to Adara for happening now, and we got some numbers.
About 20 seconds until we get some home data for the month of September, existing home sales and the existing home sales change on a month-over-month basis. We're expecting here 3.9 million home sales, previous year of 3.86, so a slight increase on a month-over-month basis. We just got here 3.84 million sales compared to the forecast of 3.88 million, so coming a little bit lower than expected. Home sales month-over-month change -1% here versus the previous of -2% and forecast of -1.6. So smaller than expected month-over-month change, I guess, to the slightly more positive month-over-month change anyway than expected here. Expected slightly more downside. Market not reacting too much to this. The NASDAQ down about 0.5% right now. I think SPY is slightly more positive than the NASDAQ as we await a pretty big earnings report tonight. It's going to be Tesla, TSLA. We know this one's been on watch with the CyberCab event a few weeks ago. It also is reportedly doing some business in Japan with regards to its Powerwall. So interesting look here for the market. Now we get a bit more of a move down in the Qs. But what other stocks are we looking at today? There is Boeing here. BA right now down about 0.25%. It had earnings they did miss across the board, larger than expected loss per share, and a sales miss. Though new CEO Kelly Ortberg saying that Boeing needs to work on its production rates and especially its 737 production rates, saying they're even maybe needing to right size in order to be more efficient. We also have another company with a newer CEO here. It's going to be SBUX. Starbucks releasing its preliminary Q4 2024 report here under new CEO Brian Niccol. The report was not positive, and the company actually suspended its fiscal 2025 guidance, though they did raise their cash dividends. So lots to look at this morning, guys.
What I'm looking at right now is a monster right here. Thank you, Adara, for that. Starbucks, come on, baby. We didn't get any fills down. Okay, there we go. Okay, I was going to say we didn't get any fills in there, but we have to catch one of them, don't we? All right, so nice little move down there now into 94. I just looked here. I wasn't bidding anything until 70. So I just put an 87 in there. It just flushed. So let's see if Starbucks, come on, baby, let's go. If this market's come back in, wow, this is going to be a great morning, obviously, to be short here. But I still feel that Starbucks has been way too strong up here on the upside. Every single flush that comes in, look at the sell side candles, man. There's nothing down here. The volume, oh, God, and now we get, okay. All right, nice little move down there. We do get that 85 fill, so that was good. So we'll take that fill now. Watch out to see what's going to happen now on Starbucks. Again, trying to hold out for some more lows right now. I do have a bid at 70, as I said, and then a bid right here actually at 57s. It's at 56s. So if we can get some fills down there, that would be all good with a stop. Again, well talked about, 96.50, 20 cents worth of a stop. Now in the money, 40 cents. So it's a 2-to-1 there. That's right. And that's what I got to do better, man. I got to do these ratios. But we are out right now of actually too many shares. We're out of about 50% of the trade right now. So again, at about a 1.5 to 1 ratio right now, we are out of 50% of the trade. So about 50%. So that's my little take there on
the other thing is like with that stop, just going over the mechanics that are different. When we're getting out and scalping, now all of a sudden have to reprice the stop order because I'm using one of our better stops, but it is what it is. So Funware, look, here's what happened on DJT, and then here's what happened in Funware. Funware first, bouncing off of VWAP, tried to break VWAP. The second it caught a bid at this 1380 level, quickly got on the bid out once and tried to do it twice to make sure I was out of half the position on that reversion play. So I am out of just over half. Actually, I'm out of 70%. I was trying to get a little bit more out there, but I got out of 70%. Why? Because if I'm punching short Funware when DJT goes down and DJT bounces off of 36, which it actually might break 36, but bounced off 36, I got more shares out of Funware. So I'm watching both those two in concert. While that happened, the market made a fresh low. Eventually, AMD did get down to 152. Is what it is. But remember, I had the initial short and then that accidental long. Okay, fine. So made a little bit back on that accidental long after the first big short that lost. Now we're back into the low. So staying short in AMD, new short in Funware, but watching DJT like a hawk. If DJT holds VWAP, don't need to be sitting around in Funware short forever. So DJT is going to be my futures here. It's at VWAP. If I see a bounce, I'm kind of poised, ready to, never mind. Okay, so it just broke VWAP, obviously.
Whoa.
DJT, I was expecting a bit of a bounce and hold of trend. If it's going to do that, which I just saw a bit of a bid, I'm going to get a little bit out here in the 70s on Funware. So watching those two like a hawk. Nvidia just lost 139. I was going to say 140, but that was correct a minute ago. Now Nvidia is at $139. The market is that today. Haven't had any longs. It hasn't been easy, but haven't had any longs because the market's been rolling over. Like no longs have really set up unless you're trading DJT. I think DJT is probably giving you a few opportunities to the long side, certainly, but I'm not seeing anything that's looking very strong right now.
So we've been short all day. Let's go over to the morning note as Neil just mentions how weak the market's been. This goes out at 8:30. Good morning, traders. Feeling bearish. Right here as we start the day. We see SMH, and Neil just talked about the semis being weak. We see all of these names heading lower. We'll need them, see them bounce to change opinions. Where's our little sticky note thing? Make sure you go grab that. I mean, even if you're just feeling you're a futures trader or you're looking for some trade opportunities, I mean, there it is right there. We're feeling bearish today. This is what happens when we're feeling bearish. No, I wish that's what happened when we were feeling bearish. But right there, there's the break down low. It never, if you're a bull today, you basically could have never won unless you scalped out somehow 5 or 6 handles. But there's the move down right there. Nicely done for the NQs. There's going to be individual names that, of course, are going to move. But we'll hold it up today here. Hopefully, Starbucks. Well, I mean, that's what we wanted to get, right? And whenever you get something that makes sense, that's the best. So right there, we do get an opportunity to trade out of that position on Starbucks, and we're going to do that again. We get some 95s there one more time. But really, I mean, when you believe in something, you believe in it. And so we're short everything right now. Okay, let's go. We just take a 92 there. Hopefully, we can get a little bit lower now on IBIT. I mean, there it comes. Let's go. Give us some more right there. Give me that. Yes, sir. Here we go, man. I don't like to celebrate when I know that I am for sure holding some Bitcoin. That's for sure. But there's a nice move to the downside on IBIT. And there it goes. Yes, sir, Neil. This is the kind of day that we're having. This is a good one. There goes Starbucks right now, 80 cents in the day of money. Be patient. Stick to your guns. This is real trading. This is what we're talking about. This is why we're here. We talked about being bearish all day, man. And there the bears come out. Where is that bear guy coming through? We'll put the stock market into the gates of hell right now. We do ride that bear today. Here it is right now. Let's go. It's a nice little downside move right here in the market. It's going to be one of them days again. It's 10:07. And look, up on SMCI, right? Check mark on that one right here. There's SMCI. What's going on, my guy? You're looking like you want to get a little bit lower. Starbucks, the P&L number 1 today for the show. And then IBIT, another one, another short coming through right there. So you just stay with what you're doing and hopefully be rewarded handsomely right now. As I can see, we're all short, baby. And that's what happens, man. You put out those notes. You talk about feeling one way. You go with it. That's what we're talking about. It's a nice downside move. Sorry to all the bulls, which I am net long.
But unfortunately,
on everything.
That's the unfortunate thing. But as a trader, you gotta trade. It's left brain, right? The market can go down. It's great for trading. You don't want to look at your long-term account on a day like today. But who cares? The market's at highs. I think it's a healthy pullback, but a pullback it is. And the markets are. Oh, I don't like this bear. I'm on that page.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Nvidia just got to 138.5. We're in AMD, not Nvidia. Obviously, Nvidia is also going down. Nvidia's down 3 points, and AMD's down 1.7. But it just caught a bid, and I just got some out 151.5. However, Mike, there are names that have been going to the upside. McDonald's one. Despite the fact that the initial short worked, this is higher lows the whole way through. That's got a clean upward trend. I'm still looking for a reversion trade in in McDonald's. It hasn't happened yet. It's not at 300, but now it's got a trend since VWAP. If that gets broken, I want to jump short. Funware has also been strong if you're looking for relative strength out there. I just got another leg out at 13.6, but it's making higher lows as well. No reload at the highs. higher lows into a flat top means it could break out, and it is a pure squeeze name. And look at DJT, right back above VWAP. So I got to watch that one like a bit of a hawk. There was a poll in the chat, but I'll get to that in a little bit because we got to talk about Tesla. So I don't want to be catching too many falling knives here, but Tesla has one level on the bid, and it's been $214 on Tesla. And it's way over here. It's about to break 215 any second now. That's the only spot that I'm looking to play it. If we're going to play it short, it had to be at 220. If we're going to play it on a bounce, it's got to be at the 214. So alert to that. It's $2 away, but trust me, the way Nvidia fell a couple of bucks, like Tesla can do exactly the same thing. And if you're not looking for it, then you're not going to get it. And then another one in here is going to be Amazon. It did play down into 187. The way the market was weak, I thought we'd get 186.5 or something like that. But Amazon's also in the zone where I'm looking for a mean reversion play. So the trend down, if it can break 187, I'm looking for a reversal. We're still going to hang on to AMD. Did take some out there recently, but starting to look for a couple of bounce plays, but only on names that are at big levels. Tesla there in $1.50. Amazon there in about 50 pennies underneath that 187 level.
All right, so that's why we get excited because Starbucks there just went right back up. So you get out when the outs are there, man. And I mean, I can't believe we got that 50 fill down there for Starbucks. Look at this, really, really strong name. Shout out to Hey Davis and everybody in the chat there. Starbucks, I said, has been along all day. Like I was just happy actually to get out of this play to the downside. We still have about a third left, but that was a great fill there at 50s. Cannot believe it. We actually take an 82 or something back there on the way up. We'll wait out to see if we can hold that. And again, another out there on SMCI. I'm trying to wait for this thing to break through 45. Hopefully that can come in. Another out there at down here on IBIT, as it looks like it might hold these levels, which is perfect if it does wind up doing that. I mean, we would like it to break lower, but we're fine with Bitcoin. I mean, if it gets back into 66,000, we can have another look. Now, oh, shoot, I got to go over here and adjust my Starbucks because the same thing's going to happen to me. I'm going to get out of shares and be punched the other way, so we don't want to do that. There we go. Yep. So we did get out of the majority of those shares at the downside, so we'll change our stop order now. If we break 96.50, we will be out of SBUX, and it looks like it's trying to get going there. The market might have just potentially turned around there. I mean, you got a nice little wick down there at 20,350, possible turnaround spot there for the market. I know someone's saying about Walmart. AMD there was, again, the short of the day. For me, it should have been. We missed it by 4 cents there and then 7 cents here. Again, that's not where the 200 period was at that time, but we were trying to respect that. We talked about that. So if we do get back up into 153, there could be a potential move on that for Advanced Micro Devices. The other name that we had on here was Snapchat. That snapped off early and has now come back in. So there it is, a nice little fallback into the 200 again down there for Snapchat and really holding that 10-10 area. So we are still bidding down here. We're bidding 10-11s on Snapchat. So that went to 10-13. All right, a little bit of a miss there as we look back at it. So too bad for us. And it's fine. I miss it because I'm sitting there, but at the same time, we weren't looking at it. So we could have got more aggressive for sure and bought those 10-20s. So that's kind of just a sort of a bad miss there for us. But again, we weren't looking at it, so I don't feel that bad. All right, other than that, that's what I'm looking for, just waiting to see if the NASDAQ, if Bitcoin wants to follow the NASDAQ and make this move down. What is the ES doing? So ES is only down 0.45. So this does look to be, led by the chips and some of those names that continue to push a little bit lower.
Energy's doing.
We didn't look at Enphase.
Yeah, I'm curious because the ES is doing better. A lot of times they're like, okay, well, what is it? Is it financials? Is it energy? What's giving it that extra boost as opposed to the NASDAQ, which I know we're going to get to when we do our sector watch in there. But I wanted to note something. I was saying Amazon's at a key price level. Okay, that's a falling knife, Amazon. And update, another bounce off of VWAP on DJT. So again, another higher low takes them out on Funware. Just going to respect the fact that every time DJT seems to catch a bid, want to take some profit on that trade. But it's Microsoft that is, it's to say the strong one when it's down underneath pre-market levels, it may be a misnomer, but it's up 0.4% and it's holding VWAP. It seems to me like Microsoft is the leader right now. Would love to be able to see it hold on to VWAP the entirety of the day, but let's see if it can consolidate above here. It just bounced off VWAP now. I do like that level. AMD, which is what we're holding on into, just did a bottoming tail candle. Remember I said got some out in front of 150, 150. Well, that's kind of a bottoming tail candle if I've ever seen one. At least it looks like it to me. Now playing back into VWAP. So I'm going to look for the VWAP retrace here in AMD. The other thing that it is kind of like this little trend line, but I mean, VWAP's as good of a trend line right now as that little trend line that I would draw. So just got to play patience. We want to stick with that short. You got to let it play back up into that level. Make sure we adjust stops as we're getting out. And there was one other thing I wanted to get to. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was McDonald's. So McDonald's, hey, I guess they're not hating it that much because it's staying on trend back up. Did take one shot at it for the short here, but it's been an upward trend. So you get away with one by, I guess, reading the fact that it was holding VWAP pretty well. But still trend up on Mickey D's. 300 is still the area that I think would be like a level short prior support here. So if it breaks out at 298 right now, wait for it to get to 300. I'm still feeling the reversion play. And then you said Enphase there, Sean, and I was like, yeah. Well, the thing about an SSR bounce play is it's a gimmick play, in my opinion. Just the structure of the trade, ENPH, the structure of the trade's a bit gimmicky. Like, you want it as a relief rally. So I'm looking for it to break down at a key level, which never happened at 75. It just kind of did the bounce right away. So now, like McDonald's, I'm sitting it out till it gets into a key resistance spot. It would have to go another couple of dollars to look for that reversion. If it does it now, like it seems like it, that's not where I'm looking here on Enphase. So the reload's going to be hopefully VWAP and advanced micro devices. We're not quite there yet, maybe 30, 40 cents away until it starts testing that. And something's going on in DJT. That just lost VWAP one more time. So just lost VWAP again. It's been bouncing here at 35.6. And so just caught a little bit of a bid there at 35.6. So you know what that means. Get a bid out on Funware. I just went over the Funware level 2 when I saw that bid get hit again and then hit bid enter 13.5. So just one short off that failed break of the high of the day on DJT. Yeah, fun. I think you can get down to 13 even, but that's only if DJT doesn't blow it out the roof.
Yeah, DJT, interesting name. Every day it seems like there's different moves at different spots right now. My kid is at like this really, I don't even, again, missing school for this, at some crazy flight simulator place.
Yo.
It's Aviva, it's called Avia Sim. And like, look at this. Like, this is what he's actually in here with a co-pilot.
It's only school, bro.
Yeah. No, well, like, you don't have to tell me about that.
No, I have nothing against. Look, that came off.
I mean, look at it. Look at this. I mean, look at all this stuff here. It's absolutely insane.
That's that dish.
Yeah. So yeah, he's looking here. Hold on a second.
You know, that's what Jeff. I have a cousin who does training in those. It's like those are so cool.
Like that's supposed to. I mean, this is Mississauga and all that stuff. So he's here doing all of this stuff here. Rocking. Of course, look, he's wearing shorts today. What? This guy's killing me. Right there, but there it is there. Yeah, so he's in this co-pilot. He's in his co-pilot era right now. Or actually, he's in the pilot seat right now.
I was gonna say left chair.
Yeah, the flight simulator right there. So pretty interesting things happening. Okay,
take the controls, Baron.
Yeah, he's gonna fix Boeing right there.
Don't get me started.
Oh man. Okay, so here we go. SMCI. Okay, we are. We took some more shares there on SMCI. SMCI will now be my #1 stock, and I think it's just pretty obvious there because of the fact that Starbucks fail right there. Congratulations, everybody that was long into that Starbucks print. I never thought Starbucks would turn green today, and I even mentioned it there. I didn't think those notes were that bad. Even on the recap show there with Adara, I actually liked the fact that they weren't going to guide anymore and all that stuff. But I thought down 4% there when a chart looked like this on the daily, that we were starting to break a little bit lower. We tried it there at 96. It does not work. It goes higher there. We didn't try it at 96. We had 96.30s. We actually wind up being slightly red on Starbucks, but we were really lucky. I mean, this is why we were happy. Like that 50 fill there where we make 70, 80 cents on that. That put us where we needed to be, and thankfully we did get that little bit of a dip down in there. I thought I got an 86 fill, but I did not. IBIT does fall back in, so I am going to put a few more shares here, get out of 20% of what we have left now at 90. We're short here at 98, so it's been fine. There it goes. Oh, did we get that fill? Yes, we did. So it comes back in there. We take that fill there on IBIT, and I am still bidding right now 37.86 if that comes in, and then I want to take the majority of them out here in and around 75, which is the low of the day so far. Okay, yeah, good. We're still short AMD on that side, and we've got right now SMCI, which again, it's really starting to go here. I'm just going to keep on scalping out. We just take some 21s out right there. There's so much liquidity on this name, or on all of the NASDAQ names, it seems like, right now. So easy to take it out. Despite us taking that hit on Starbucks, we are at the highest spot we've been at all day right now, and it's just to do with that reload. So we get that reload there on SMCI and able to take that down. And of course, okay, here we go. IBIT coming back in again. We are bidding 86s.
Well, that's
just missed us there on IBIT as the market looking to fall back in. Neil's on Funware and hitting keys over there. So let's have just a quick look on DJT.
DJT just
holding,
just caught like a hero bid just now. Like this was breaking down. Like 2 seconds ago, I'm like, what the heck just happened to the bid on Funware? Because it looked like it was about to go a buck in the money, and DJT had come right down to the opening range, high or low, and then instantly, and I'm talking instantly, back up like 50 pennies. That's like a 1.5 there, right back into VWAP. So yeah, I mean, alert to that one. I only liked it if it was holding VWAP for the long on Funware, but like the second that happened, it's like the bid enter again. So you might be breaking this trend back out. This is going to be tricky. There you go. You've got this lower high. If Funware breaks trend, I think I'm jumping out of the trade. And then AMD, before we go over to Adara, AMD did not quite tag VWAP, but look what happened. It got so close and then immediately flushing underneath. So it's looking like it's going to consolidate underneath VWAP for the entry short. And then McDonald's holding that upward trend. So, thankfully, I mean, the shorts have worked, but this one, while it did, is still trending up. It has yet to break the trend. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get rid of this trend line because now I want to work the one above VWAP. Let's go to Adara. It's 1020. What's going on in small cap land? Spirit Airlines, probably.
IWM continuing here in a downtrend, breaking below that previous support from yesterday around 220, and literally at low of days as of right now here on that 15-minute chart. So Russell 2000 still quite weak this morning. We have quite a few repeat runners here, names that have run before in this small cap recap this morning, including SAVE, Spirit Airlines. This one does have a market cap of around $250 million. They rallied on Monday with regards to their debt negotiations. Today, they're running on a Wall Street Journal report suggesting that they've revived their merger talks here with Frontier. So SAVE on watch with a 33% short flip. TVGN on watch here as well. This one has about an 87% percentage of insider ownership, so decent insider ownership percentage for Tevagen Bio. Its AI effort, which is called Tevagen AI, has apparently joined this Microsoft for Startups program. So good look here for TVGN. And last but not least, LRHC, La Rosa Holding Corp. This is the real estate related name they've run in the past, announcing a 120% year-over-year increase for their 9-month revenue, at least on a preliminary basis here for 2024. So strong preliminary revenue here for LRHC, pushing this one to the upside. It's been halted quite a few times. Lots of small caps this morning, guys.
Very much there, Darren. If you want to trade small caps, if you want to trade large caps and everything in between, then we're thrilled to announce Trader TV Live with, here at Trader TV Live, the Trade the Pool. Hey, they got a huge giveaway. 7 traders are going to get $20,000 in buying power to trade with. This is your opportunity to start trading and getting funded with Trade the Pool for free. The registration runs from October 21st to the 25th, and winners will be announced on the 29th. Do not miss your chance to get funded. Trade the Pool is a prop trading firm that funds traders through a unique evaluation model. The firm allows traders to trade over 12,000 stocks and ETFs, that's a lot, including penny stocks, with the freedom to trade during pre-market or after hours and bypass the PDT rule. Traders who pass the evaluation receive funds and share the profits with the company. So scan that QR code below, check out that huge giveaway, or you can always click the link in the description of our video here, the live that you're watching right now. Shout out to Trade the Pool. And speaking of penny stocks that you're able to trade, heck, Save I thought was going to become one, and maybe they will. And that was my bad earlier. I think I said JetBlue, and it was Frontier. The deal is with Frontier. JetBlue was on the mind. JetBlue had their own deal, but it was with Frontier. So Frontier wanted them. They were told by the FTC that it couldn't happen, and now they're going to be able to pick them up when maybe they go bankrupt. But still trending to the upside is Spirit Airlines holding on to VWAP. And speaking of VWAP holds, well, if you thought there was one bull to rule them all, there's one stock that's, okay, Mag 7 name, I guess, that's holding on to trend. But this is not a compelling look here yet on Microsoft. It's trying to hold on to VWAP. Like, your consolidation on strength hasn't happened. As a matter of fact, you could lose this trend line right here, and then I think that's going to be a problem for the market. You know, I think you're holding on because of things like Microsoft at VWAP, like you saw there. Apple, which might not be green, but is hanging on to VWAP. We lose that, and you can pretty much forget about it. Because if those start to go, and you're already weak in a bunch of names like the chip names, then we can retest those. So there's just no fills at or above VWAP or on the trend of AMD. Well, that's that trend line. It's not really giving you any press into there, which I guess means it's extra weak today. So you're not even getting into VWAP. You're actually resisting it by about 30 pennies or so. So looking for that reload on AMD. Not really that interested just yet in McDonald's. I keep trying to go back over to see if it's going to make that final press into 300. It's getting very close, but part of being patient is 299 is not 300, and it's still holding on to the trend to the upside. We've got to wait for it to actually set up the short we want. I want something like this, the wick through 296. At 300. I want a rejection of the 300 level, short the back end of the trade. So we're getting close.
My wife just said, nice knowing me, because right now they're simulating an engine fire in the air over Dubai. And now the plane has just turned off mid-air. So my son is probably loving what is happening right now. And my wife is in the back there saying this is insane. So I'll get more details about where that place was.
You gotta love when it does that thing.
And get it all figured out.
Low terrain. Pull up.
Yeah, I think that's, he said, she said that he had a great landing. So I don't know if he's landed once and then now they're back in that plane simulating an engine fire over Dubai. Absolutely wild. Okay, so right now, Apple, these are just flight simulators, so don't go short Boeing or anything right now. All right, so there's Apple right now.
Probably do short.
I like this stock here short. I mean, if we can break it, I mean, why were we not getting through 235, 235.20 earlier? I mean, we had a great, yesterday's long was my number one trade, and we had the long rate down here yesterday as it made that move back up, and now you're giving a little bit of it back. And I was just looking at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is, falling quite nicely and trying to hold, but here it goes. All right, so 20,500. We just got taken out of our number one stock today, SMCI. Again, we reloaded it. We told you that we were getting it out. That's why we were still green today and decently, but we did give it back right there as there is the breakout long right here. Like, why did we bounce? Let's have a quick little look quickly here. So look where we just, that's too bad, man. Like right there, we should have maybe looked at that. What a great opportunity to buy the Qs right there on past lows. So it just goes back into the last week lows there, yet 2 days ago actually, into those lows of Monday and bounced quite nicely on there. You're still underneath though. I would still favor the short in the market, but that is a nice retracement bounce to the upside here on that. It looks like AMD's making its way back up. I would short all these names, but back at VWAP.
It's above VWAP now.
Yeah, it looks like Nvidia still is not, so that could be one to short there, but I still think we want to stay short here.
Yeah, whatever. I just got in and out flat. I did that thing again. In and out flat. Don't want to be long this, but it has broken trend and is above VWAP. But Nvidia is not. Nvidia is still at 140 and underneath VWAP. Just showing you AMD. This has now broken the trend. So it's either a back underneath VWAP or wait for it to get to those highs. Just be patient with it. All right, funds not participating with the market because Funware has nothing to do with the market, in my opinion. But VWAP on Nvidia, I mean, that's looking weak. I just want to double check ARM. because ARM could be at, no, never mind. ARM's actually not looking like anything there. So Nvidia's at VWAP. AMD's already broken that trend line and VWAP in its own regard. So I want to look to see if it's going to hold underneath on Nvidia. I wanted to check Apple for a quick second. I'm going to give it some time. I want that to get into that 140.5. Apple's not even holding VWAP when the market's bouncing like this.
That's the thing.
That doesn't even make any sense. I thought that would be a little stronger. Okay, so I'm not really feeling Apple yet. I'm just going to short back into VWAP on Nvidia as the next play. DJT Funware still doing what they were before. They don't seem to care that the market's catching a bid, which is good. You don't mind having a few things in there that aren't going to be correlated with the market because then you can just trade them off the price action
250.
and not worry about what happens here in the NASDAQ. Let's go to Adara. I believe it's 10:30, so that
Yeah.
means a crypto update.
Does.
We're going to start here with a look at Coinbase, COIN. This, of course, is a crypto-related stock. Nice base today at that 205.20 level, down about almost 2%. The reason I want to talk about this one, though, is ahead of their earnings next Wednesday after the bell, we did get an analyst note from B. Riley. They actually initiated coverage on it with a neutral rating, and they gave it a price target of $185. So about $20 lower than where we're currently trading, basically saying that they view the company as an industry leader, but they think the stock will be pretty range-bound for the time being. So liking the company, but not seeing a lot of future for the stock as of right now, hence the neutral rating for COIN, from B. Riley. Now, for Bitcoin itself, we're still pushing back here and failing to break that 70,000 level. As of right now, we definitely wicked a little bit lower here. Got as low as just above that 66 level. So right now, they're reclaiming. Right now, we're trading at 66677. So 66.6 right now for the level 4. BTC, again, continuing to hold pretty nice support at the 60,000. Let's see if we can break the next key 10,000 point level at 70. So Bitcoin down about 0.2% here. Ethereum down, though, a little bit more significantly. Down now actually below that 2,600 level. BNB down about 1.7%, but we do have some marginal gains in crypto-related names like Tron, Solana, and USDC. Solana, though, actually breaking lower as we speak, so this could be turning red. Lots to look at in the crypto space, but mostly to the downside, guys.
Well,
Right.
Solana has to go down now because my physio guy got me into it.
Oh, did he? Yeah, you're.
No,
a
remember I
little
told you a
bit
couple
late
weeks
there.
ago. He's like,
Yeah.
no, it was actually it was almost a month ago. Now I think about it, I'll have to double check. I just converted some ETH that I had in my Coinbase. All of my ETH that was in Coinbase. Most of it's in the ETF. It wasn't a lot. I put right into Solana. It was only a couple grand. It was not a huge deal, but it was the timing of it because I've been sitting out the entire time, and he's been convincing me that it's a better platform, and I wanted a different altcoin there because I have ETH in the ETF, which is in my TFSA, but I have a Coinbase account. So not Microsoft. Nvidia just pressed into VWAP, almost tagged it, but guess what? It did tag prior lows. So that's the morning range low at 140.5. On the way back in, it came to the quarters. I'm in at the quarters, giving it to the 60. Want to get some out in front of 140 even because it just 140 even that was a breakout level 2 days ago. And from there, then 139.50 to 60 was a consolidation zone as well. So you're getting a bounce in the market. This is what the NASDAQ looks like right now.
This is too strong.
Look at that. Yeah, look at that wick rejection, and now you're almost breaking trend back up on the NASDAQ. I probably should be like Apple or Microsoft long. The more I look at it, I talked myself out of Apple to go into Nvidia. Okay, there's Apple. You can trade Apple in the Brazilian market, apparently. I just found out based on the autofill. So Apple holding on to VWAP, higher lows, higher low in here. It's not blasting away. That's the thing. It's not really looking that amazing there for a long setup. But Nvidia just bounced clean off of 140. Didn't get a fill in front of 140. I was sitting at threes, no fill there. If we lose VWAP, I'm just going to jump out of the trade, and then it'll only be Funware. So one shot in short on Nvidia, but it might be at the wrong spot. The other thing I can show you, which I guess I didn't, is it sort of gave this trend line entry, like it rejected the trend line, I got in. Now you're closing above the trend line. I'm already stopping out above 60s here, but you're closing above the morning trend, which usually is an auto exit, but I'm stopped out just above that anyways. So Nvidia looking like it wants to pull on a reversal. Fun is at 13. At this point, it's either break the low of the day or we're going to get out on a trail while closely watching DJT. So DJT just did this at the low of the day, Oh, I just did it on Nvidia again. That's absolutely. You'd think I would not make this. Ugh, that's so frustrating. Is what it is. In and out flat on Nvidia. I have a level 2 up. It's like 3 times there. So Nvidia broke that 160. You saw me get out immediately out of any long. I'm not trying to go long Nvidia. I want to back off, look for confirmation above VWAP as opposed to just a straight breakout on what has been a bearish stock. But what you just saw in DJT, that wick off the bottom, holding the low in that fashion, I'm now going to trail out of Funware underneath VWAP, but basically on this little trend line. If Funware closes above this trend line, which I'll hit save on, then I'm just jumping out of the trade. Or if DWAC just does something crazy, then I will just punch out manually.
Okay, yeah. We had the same short there. We were able to get out early on Nvidia and then basically wind up flatting the trade again. Like, I mean, it's frustrating because I was sitting here. You might have heard me say, I was like, oh man, this is too strong. Like, it just keeps on going. It's trying to go meme crazy right now. So when I see that happen, I just flipped over into the long. So we'll lose about 20 cents one way. We'll see if we can get 20 cents on a quarter the other way and then just let this thing blast off. I mean, the market is basically saying that was a nice story, but we're not going to be down for very long. I mean, the resilience sometimes in this market is absolutely unreal. We actually talked about that little wick right there that just happened that brought us back into Monday's low and then bought up immediately. So that's 20,350 right there for the buyback in the market. We'll hold out for Nvidia. Let's see it break 140 this time to the downside and be a little more patient. Some of our best trades have been the ones that we've sat in and waited for, right? So Bitcoin making the move back up. I mean, we sort of talked about this. We still only we have a third left. A little bit less than a third left of this trade, and it came back in, but right now you're right back to these levels. I'm still sitting at the same levels that I wanted to before, and that was 38.15s. So we're just looking for this little level right here for IBIT as we continue to watch out, of course, for Bitcoin and see what that's doing. We have it down here at 66.9 right now on BTC. So we'll pay attention to see if that wants to go a little bit higher than where we are right now. I might as well just take some here. We are waiting for more on the upside, 38.13s in the middle. And then we were going to use the 20-minute candle here, the 20-period 50-minute right there at 38.25 or so in order to get out. So that's what we're looking for right there on IBIT. We will take some more. I just offered 06s. We missed it. If that comes in, we'll take it right now on that one. Oh, Starbucks filled. I guess, thanks, auto cancel. I guess it did not auto cancel this order as we got some Starbucks. It's a very, very small amount. We'll punch out of that one. But there goes Starbucks back in again. So we did take a loss there as it broke. That was a nothing trade, but we did take a loss right there when it broke through 50s. It gets as high as 97. That's tough, man. Like, if you were waiting for 97s, great. That turned out to be the turning point, but there's the pullback in for Starbucks. So far, so good on that short if you do have that for Starbucks. SMCI flatted that out, and it's right back where it is if you like it. I'm going to choose the other side now and go Nvidia long. Nice bounce back there. Nvidia, look at this hold. Again, perfect on the 200 period moving average down there at 138.50. Easy to say now, but I mean, there's the test. There it is again. So we'll see if we can make that move back up. Let's see if Nvidia can get some wings back there to the upside. My next reload on this one is not until 50s. So we'll see about a pullback into roughly another key area right there was 140.50. We'll see if we can get long. We'll try some more. And then if we break back down below 140, then we can throw up our hands and say, we'll pass on Nvidia. So, all right, that's it. We're long right now, 65s.
Yeah, in this market, like you said, catching a bit of a bounce. You're going to see I'm now out of DJT. Just have to, not DJT, Funware, but just got to stick to the plan. So, I mean, DJT just made this bottom off of 35, so watch it go. Said if we close above trend, we get out. But again, it's 2 days in a row. A failed break of the high on DJT gives you the short entry on Funware, where it's free locates. You got to pay. We have to pay for them at Real Trading to go short on DJT. We don't have to on Funware. And then it confirms the short underneath the high here with that drop and then a bit of an add into VWAP. Now we're done. Now, if we get another press and a fail at VWAP or something like that, it can always set up some kind of another trade here for us on Funware. Apple is now pulling back into VWAP after just testing 235. Okay, Apple clearly trending to the upside. I do not want to be looking for some kind of a flat bottom break. Going to look for the long entry here on Apple into VWAP. So VWAP sits at about 234.5, not exactly, but the support underneath is at 234.40. But I'd like it to carry down a little bit. Obviously, the market's starting to come back into the upside here, and Apple held VWAP rather nicely. So the next trade, it looks like to me, is probably going to be Apple off VWAP, although I'm tracking, still waiting on McDonald's. It's at 300 now, so looking for the failed break, but it has not failed that breakout. It's still on trend on McDonald's. So now it's at 300, break this trend line, close under it. I'm short into VWAP on McDonald's. So just being patient with it. The first trade, that's the opening rush, but now we just have to wait for McDonald's to give us another setup here, as it's already back to 3 bills, but down 5%.
Man, the long Nvidia has an easy way of making you actually look smart. I mean, it's just... It broke the level, and we just reversed it. I mean, and there it goes. We just got 94s out, and we talked about it. I mean, as I was looking at it in the 30s, said to Neil, I said to myself, I said to you guys, this is looking like it's going to go meme crazy. And unfortunately, we tried the VWAP in case we weren't right, but there it goes, man. It's starting to go now. The buyers are in Nvidia, and they're coming strong on this name. Like, it's just dips are getting bought up. They're not lasting very long. Like, look at this. And then it just gets right back into 90s again. Like, let's see if it happens here. Hey, look, a pullback, we want to get longer, but let's just wait to see what winds up happening now on Nvidia. So this is actually one of the first times since we've been in that we've had a decent pullback right now. Maybe we'll get some more at 50. I was waiting for, see, like there it is. Okay. That didn't last very long. Futures doing nothing. This thing just rips up 15 cents off that low. So yeah, man, it is buying back up over and over and over again. So we will just get out here, cancel some of our orders, make sure that we do have the right bids coming through here on Nvidia in case it does dip back in. So right now we're long this name and waiting to see if there's any actionable trades. IBIT does go back downside a little bit, but does hold. It does hold that 95 area. You're now above the 50 period moving average. Good look there on McDonald's, as that's like, I guess E. coli probably now. I mean, they got out of that. They got in front of it pretty good there. So
smart by them.
It seems like they'll deal with that properly. DraftKings still holding 37. Remember, we're waiting for 36.50 to break on DraftKings. It held right there last time. So that's going to be an area of concern for me for DraftKings, trying to hold out for that 36.50. Okay, it's over at the screen here with Adara.
We'll start with the sectors that are a little bit more positive because they are pretty few and far between. We have some positivity in finance, though it's worth noting in this sector. Market didn't react much, but Goldman Sachs GS and Apple AAPL both being fined over their credit card deals. Keep an eye on GS and AAPL and that situation there. Some positivity here in producer manufacturing. Retail trade has Walmart and Costco both holding up nicely. And the communication sector not doing badly here either, with T reporting before the bell and TMUS scheduled to report here after the close. Now, in terms of weakness, lots to talk about. Consumer non-durables, Coke and Pepsi to the downside after Coca-Cola's report. We have the electronic technology sector generally red, with the exception of TXN up after its earnings. Some weakness as well here, although Microsoft, for the second day in a row, outsized strength here. We do have the rest of this technology services sector a bit weaker. Health technology very much to the downside, as well as consumer services with both SPUX and MCD and watch the downside. We'll have to see how everything shakes up, but it's certainly been an interesting day, that's for sure.
Thank you very much, Adara. Still printing upside here. Again, this is why you got to be patient. Like if it doesn't set up, if we don't turn on McDonald's, then we're not going to take it. Probably should have done Enphase instead, because Enphase did get to 82, but that could still trend back underneath VWAP as we speak. But I have some eyeballs now. All of a sudden, I mean, Spirit. Like we didn't really talk too much about Spirit Airlines, but it's done its dance and it's holding on to VWAP here pretty nicely. I think if you're looking for like a squeeze name, some of the nuclear names have been going a little bit here today. Spirit Airlines, if it can hold on to VWAP, I'm looking for a bounce here. What it's got going is support and then a downward trend. So hold support, break the trend back up. I mean, it's literally the opposite of what I'm looking for in McDonald's. I'm looking for a bounce off VWAP and then a break back above what's been a downward trend on Spirit. So those are the two things that'll happen next, ideally, for myself and just going to have to be patient with it. You know, I had a misstep on Nvidia. It's a great look to reverse long. I just couldn't bring myself. What's hilarious is I accidentally reversed long, but that's because I keep making that one keystroke error with a different stop key. But I got out of it. So it's a good look to be long still. So here comes Spirit. If it bounces off VWAP and breaks above the trend line, I'm looking to go long there, but I'm still tracking for the short in McDonald's.
Okay.
You got to wait for it. The market goes higher. It's got to wait for it to give me that close underneath.
Yeah, okay, here, I'm just trying to get some orders all set up here because, guys, like, Nvidia is just, like, I know Neil was just talking about it, but I mean, I don't want to forget about it again because, I mean, it has been absolutely fantastic in order to go into the long side. Look, you can see right here, we've talked about this over and over again. One of my favorite platforms forever has been eSignal. I've used eSignal platform here on the floor during the show throughout my whole career as a prop trader. Trade smarter, not harder. You can get 30-day free trial right now, infinite data, instant trading. You can get any sort of exchange, Hong Kong, CME, NYMEX. It's an entitlement-based product, so you don't have to worry about tracking just ETFs. You can actually get the market, and that's what's been very important. Back testing, real-time scans, everything you need all in one place. Elevate your trading, scan the QR code, and check the link in description and join us here with eSignal. I mean, again, I really like it. My biggest feature, I mean, I have a whole bunch of things that I like about eSignal, obviously, but the big one for me will just continue to remain these hot lists. And again, I look at it with volume rate. So if you just look over here, that's volume on the day. You could switch this over here to trade rate. So these are the names that are really starting to put on some trades. I have a bunch of these. I'm just showing you this scanner for once. You can change it there. And again, drop down the different markets. So right now, PDD going hard, Affirm, SOXL, Nvidia, TVGN, they're all right here. If you're gonna look for names that are maybe using gap fills, unusual volume. I didn't set these. These are all preset here. Monthly news, new yearly highs, new yearly lows, below VWAP. How many cents below VWAP are we? So I didn't make any of these settings. So right there, I mean, I might have in the back. You can ask me for my layout at any time, but there it goes right there. I really like this. It really makes a lot of sense to me. Top trades today, Nvidia. Wow, Neil, there goes Nvidia. Monster play for Nvidia. Alert to this one, as there it goes, man. We turn our frown upside down by simply going long, and we indicated that this is going meme crazy back $1 ago. We were not smart enough to do anything about it, but we are now, as we hold on to a 60-cent winner here on NVDA. So going short early against VWAP, mistake or not, obviously it was, but there's the last play. We right the wrongs by taking Nvidia back to the, okay, I'll take a 27, Phil. Why not do that right there? Bang. Nice little 60-cent winner there on Nvidia, bringing it back to the north side here as the market is saying, okay, IBIT, a little bit of a breakdown there. We'll have Satya coming up through. I just heard these guys talking about Solana and whatnot. You know, so Solana is I probably own more Solana than Bitcoin, but we'll double check that today and get back to you at the end of the day there. We can have a quick look at some of the coins right now, and let's do that right here. I do have what's for lunch. That'll be coming up very, very soon for everybody as well. Let's just refresh this and go over. This is just a CoinGecko. It shows you all of the top names coming through. And then I like that because it gives you like the hour move on here as well. And I know there's probably way better sites than this. There's Solana right here, 168, but what a move it's had. It's up 10% on the week. And what a good bottom take there if you go over to like just a 1 year marker. These little dip downs into 127, 130, fantastic. I sold the last time it was up here near 200. We'll do it again. The only name I really want to hodl is going to be BTC, so I'll probably dump some Solana and get more into that name shortly. All right, Neil, it is still going. I'm just going to start to piece these out on the way up, so let's just get it out penny after penny here. It is Bitcoin, and it's trying to go higher and higher and higher. Sorry, it's Bitcoin. Nvidia that's going higher. Oh, I know what it was. This is what I was going to say. Sorry, Bitcoin going the other way as I'm getting out of that, as it looks like we're bouncing a little bit there off 67,000. So my bad, it's Nvidia that keeps on climbing. Wow.
Yeah, I was about to say, BTC is heading to the downside, Nvidia is heading up. Havana Woody, what are the halt bands on fun at the moment? So I'd love to be able to answer that question for you. Unfortunately, we actually don't we don't have a live feed for the like where the current halt band would be on the stock. So you just have to kind of look in 5% in either direction or 10% on each stock, depending on the price of stock. You can always find like the halt levels at the, I think NASDAQ has a page, and NYSE also has a page. So we don't have like a moving target of where the halt bands will be. I'm just always looking, 10% away in any given moment. Clearly, it would have to break the low of the day or the high of the day in either direction. Now, it's a back above VWAP. I still think McDonald's is going to be the next trade for me, but DJT just did this at VWAP. The problem with Funware is you already saw, like, you need to, when this happens, you have to already have hit Funware. The rejection of VWAP there, and then your entry needed to be like somewhere there. The issue with that is Funware was above VWAP, so stronger. So I didn't do anything. That's not what I want to see. I wanted to be able to play off of highs when VWAP was at highs. So here comes McDonald's. It's above 300. It's starting to set up. It has a steeper trend since the high of the day break, but it hasn't broken the long trend. So it's got this one, which is respected, but the one I'm really tracking is a close underneath this trend since it got to VWAP. And again, it was a higher low because we were in at the one time. It's now breaking potentially to this downside. So I'm looking for this 300 break. I want to see it confirm holding underneath, get short on any consolidation, give it to what is usually the local high. Maybe it's 300, it could be 320. I don't know until it gets there. But that's going to be the next trade for me on McDonald's. Stephen Ford, can I check Tesla? Yeah, not in anything. Basically tracking one trade setup. Tesla can't even get to VWAP. It never got to 214. If we thought it was going to be an inside day in Tesla, I'd say that was validated. Tried to break the high, failed abjectly, and got to yesterday's low. So I thought 214. It thought yesterday's low and today's high. I think you probably just want to respect those on Tesla. Although a low of the day break, remember, 214 was a monster level. If it does break the low, you got about $1 until that. So just be careful. Short at the bottom is always tricky. Dara, Money Talks?
We're going to talk about money talks, but briefly, we have more news coming out of Boeing here. During their analyst call after the earnings, the CFO said that their target for the 737 production, which was 38 per month, is now going to be delayed. So Boeing CFO saying the company's delaying its previous 737 production target. Keep an eye on BA here. Also, this U.S. dollar continuing to be very strong. Now, third day to the upside after a brief pause in that rally. And we're actually now heading into previous resistance. Most local, I would say most recent resistance here are in that 104.50 area, currently around 104.47 here for that DXY. Now, we did get some data this morning, and home sales actually coming to a 14-year low. This would be the lowest level since October 2010. Home sales for September coming in at 3.84 million versus estimates here of 3.88 million. We also had revisions of the previous number. Existing home sales dropping by 1% on a month-over-month basis compared to the 2% prior drop, although that was, again, also revised. So pretty weak home sales here coming out in terms of the U.S. economy and economic data. Fed's Bowman spoke this morning but didn't make any comments on economic policy. Next Fed up here is going to be Fed's Barkin at 12 p.m. Then at 1 p.m. we'll get the 20-year bond auction, but other than that, no economic data to look at. Tomorrow we'll get some PMI data from S&P Global. We'll also get initial jobless claims and some more Fed speakers. Bit of a lighter week all week, and then Friday that we'll end things off here with the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment, the final print of that metric for the month of October. Let's see what the DXY does and if it continues pushing higher, guys.
All right, again, failed that. Thank you, Adara, for that one. Failed that we did not reload IBIT, but look what's happening right now. Bang, bang, bang. It's actually going to be funny because my number one stock today will be IBIT. Oh, no, sorry, it's still SMCI, my bad. But it just, the net started ramping up a little bit as we come back into the 200 period moving average. So now we only have 20% left of IBIT as that's just come in. A bunch of outs here for Nvidia. I probably have about 25% left. I do want to get some more long if we fall back into VWAP. I was actually thinking about buying some 70s, but we are starting to fall in. Look at the market coming back in pretty aggressively right. I mean, you could see even IBIT, like we were saying, still trying to go lower. I actually had a bid at 75. Let me, I have to change the amount of shares now because I've gotten out of too many. Probably let's put an 82 there, and then we'll go and put a 77 and see if we can get some love down there on the downside for these names. Starbucks, I still think it's a short. It's underneath the 50-period moving average. You probably have the okay rate now to go short. We're finally underneath that against a 96. I will go back in. Let's put an offer on the offer right now and see if we can get that back into the short. There it is. So now we are short 9. Oh, that's 96.23. My bad. All right, let's get it back a little bit higher than that. I was gonna watch out for 96, but let's see about a 96.10 and then use this level here. That's 96.25. So let's put a stop in there, 96.25 or so. If it breaks higher than that, we're gonna get out of some Starbucks and just be wrong on it. I just think that now we're finally, there he goes. We have to set the orders. We talked about our stop orders changing a little bit there for us. All right, so Starbucks, if it breaks there, fine. If not, let's see if we get a little bit of a downside push there for SPUX. And then, hey man, just buy the damn dips right there. Nvidia there. What if you like guacamole with your chips and dip? But with the semi chips, you just need to push long. It appears to be that way. So we'll wait to see now what's happening here with our markets. But I don't know. I don't want to get too like FOMO with this and buy all of this. I am going to wait for VWAP to get a little bit more down there on Nvidia, which is now, I guess I got to change it. We're going to go to 141.60. We got to change our current bids because it was a little bit lower than that.
So just very quickly here, we'll see. I mean, I threw my stop at 300, which is probably, we say never throw a stop at an even dollar level, or don't usually like doing it. We closed beneath the trend line on McDonald's, which was the entry. But then I threw an even dollar stop instead of kind of letting it get to this key support price here at 300.5. So it's still underneath the trend line. The only way that I get back into this is if it stays on trend under and gets back under 300. Otherwise, just take the L and move on. So 1 for 2 on McDonald's effectively. There was one other thing. Oh, yeah, Spirit Airlines. So Spirit Airlines, we're going to go to Adara, but Spirit Airlines was the other trend that we were tracking as McDonald's goes away and Spirit Airlines has this trend to the downside, which I'm tracking. So it doesn't hold on to VWAP per se, but it's still holding on to this breakout price at 275. So if it can break back above VWAP, obviously it's going to close above that trend to do so. And if it does, I'm looking for a mean reversion in the other direction here on Spirit Airlines. 10:55, let's go to the desk. Only a couple minutes left here.
This part of the show is brought to you by Firefly Neuroscience. Firefly Neuroscience has taken a bold step in advancing brain health technology. In collaboration with Bright Minds Biosciences, Firefly's innovative AI platform has successfully analyzed data from a groundbreaking phase 1 clinical trial using advanced EEG technology to track brain activity. This data unlocks new potential in treating neurological and mental disorders, reinforcing Firefly's position at the forefront of brain health innovation. As they prepare for phase 2, this partnership signals exciting developments for the future of neuropsychiatric treatments. Firefly Neuroscience, shaping the future of brain health.
We've talked about this a bit. I just said to wait till Sharif hears about this one. Okay, so Toronto went absolutely bike lane crazy right there. So get this. Doug Ford is removing the bike lanes now, Bloor Street, Yonge Street, and University. So only costing us, millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. Doug Ford finally doing the right thing, getting rid of some of those bike lanes. What's that? Yeah, I will. My wife sent it to me. Look, I like the bike lanes. I just, it's caused complete chaos there on the streets, and they'll just take our money again and spend it wherever they want to. But finally, good old Dougie there making that decision. All right. So here we go, 140.90s. We did get that reload, and oh boy, did we ever, down there on Nvidia. So a good little reload there, able to grab it, and there it goes right back up to the upside. That's trading, baby. Nice little reload. Not only that, we talked about it. We said we were waiting for VWAP. We put it in our pipe, and we smoke it right there, back up there to the upside. Again, trade the best names. But on that note, it's just so funny because we go back into a stock that we have a really good read on with Nvidia, and then over into Starbucks, which right there with the market going down, Starbucks goes, nah, we good, man. We'll just travel all the way back up into these levels. We should have just let Sleeping dogs lie as there goes Starbucks back there to the upside. Another L. Oops, that's a chicken dinner winner, but it's for Nvidia. Look at this Nvidia reload. Oh boy, this could be I thought SMCI was going to potentially be one of my trades there, but this reload on Nvidia really got going, man. Back into VWAP. We stay true to who we are, but you know what we have to do first before we let you go is what's for lunch right now. Bye-bye bike lanes on Bloor. That's hilarious. I think it was from CP24. Brendan, very interested in that one. Okay, so first of all, yeah, we'll get to that. Jerk chicken right there. So we'll say hallelujah for that one. It is a chicken dinner winner. It's a jerk chicken dinner winner right there with Jamaican rice and peas. We like that. Steamed bok choy, I guess, which is kind of
Why do they say
weird
Jamaican
with
rice and peas? It's just rice and peas.
with jerk chicken. And then Caesar salad. I think that's going to be a good one. Awesome for the traders behind us. I'm having a tuna melt tonight, which means it'll probably be tuna on the salad, which will be fine. I really enjoy tuna, but all right. So that's that right now. Nvidia just got ripped up there into 141 where we did empty out some of that clip, as we said. So it's really, really volatile right now, Nvidia. But again, play the momentum. And right now, it's trying to hold. But don't be fooled, man. If you get back under this 140, it is a trend changer. And then we'll come back down to the downside. It's always difficult going long on names that are triple the market to the downside. So be very, very careful there with NVDA.
So it's actually not that crazy of a thing. The bok choy, like Chinese food's really popular in the West Indies. So I've seen it before. Like I've definitely seen it
popular
before.
everywhere.
I have like a personal beef with the whole like Jamaican rice and peas. Like all West Indians eat rice and peas. Okay.
So you think it just should say It should say West. It just should say rice and peas.
It should just be rice and peas. You don't have to say Jamaican rice. It's just a weird thing, but it's
like why do you have to say Turkish shawarma, for example? You don't.
Yeah, but like Jamaicans don't own rice and peas. That's all I'm saying. And again, it's just a West Indian.
Oh, you're offended because of the rice and peas.
Well, I'm not personally offended. It's just a weird.
Sounds like you're a little bit personally.
Maybe like a little bit.
But I mean,
my parents instilled this one in me because they were Antiguan, and they're always.
If it said French lasagna, I mean, I would just say. Just stop bringing food.
But France owns a few foods, legitimately. Like they can lay claim, like for
frog legs.
Yeah, for, like, all kinds of stuff. Before I know we have to go to the midday. McDonald's did hold trend, and I am back into it. And there was a news story on Boeing.
Oh
shoot! I just where was it? I had it a second ago.
Yeah.
The Boeing CFO says they have a plan to address balance sheet in the near term that could involve offering of equity and equity-linked securities. So on that headline, Boeing dropped like $5 and is trying to bounce here. So I'm looking for a continuation short. It's about 156 in here. So Boeing, once again, cannot fail to have bad news, as usual. So with that, you're going to have some good news. We're going over to Learn to Trade. We've got Satya back on board with Sharif. Go get him.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as that Midday Show. That is